make sure everybody, we mute our phones. Let me do that too. Okay, I think we're live now.
I don't see, there's usually a little red recording button at the top upper left-hand
It just
corner.
popped up on my phone. So.
Oh, did it? I don't see it on our laptops, on my laptop.
Well, you know what? I'm subscribed to the channel, so I think that's why it notifies me.
Okay.
We're good to go, Mayor Serta.
I was going to say, I'll wait for Becky. Okay. So let's go ahead and begin tonight's Gardena City Council meeting for Tuesday, October 12th, 2021. Madam City Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Mayor Serta.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka.
Here.
Councilmember Henderson.
Here.
Councilmember Cascanian.
Present.
Councilmember Francis. Here. All members of the council are present.
Okay, let me just read this here. In order to minimize the spread of the COVID-19 virus, Governor Newsom has signed Assembly Bill 361. Please be advised that the council chambers are closed to the public and that some or all of the Gardena City Council members may be attending this meeting telephonically. If you would like to participate in this meeting, you can participate via the following options. The first way is viewing the meeting live on Spectrum Channel 22 or online at youtube.com/City of Gardena. The second way to participate is prior to the meeting, you can email the Deputy City Clerk at publiccomments@cityofgardena.org by 5 p.m. on the day of the meeting and write public comments in the subject line. The third way to participate during the meeting is via the Zoom webinar. To join the meeting via the internet or via phone conference, the link is https://us02wb.zoom.us/J/86208256010. The telephone number is area code 669-900-9128, and the meeting ID number is 862-0825-6010. If you wish to speak live on a specific agenda item during the meeting, you may use the raise your hand feature during the item you wish to speak on. For non-agenda items, you'll be allowed to speak during oral communications, and during public hearing, you'll be allowed to speak when I open the public hearing. Members of the public wishing to address the City Council will be given 3 minutes to speak. The City of Gardena thanks you in advance for helping us to take all the precautions to preventing the spreading of the COVID-19 virus. So at this time, let me just make mention that we did not have a closed session tonight. We're going to go ahead and begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Tonight, we have Brandon Castillo, who attends Chapman Elementary School. I think he'll be coming on in just a moment here. There he is. Hi, Brandon.
Hello.
Hi. You're going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance tonight, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so go ahead and you can start, and when you finish, I want you to stay online with us, okay?
Okay.
All right, go ahead. We're going to put our hands over our heart.
Please place my hand over your heart.
Okay.
Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic in which stand one nation under God, indivisible, and liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Good job. Stay on for a few minutes for us, okay?
Okay.
Mayor Pro Tem, can you lead us in tonight's invocation?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Let's pray. Father, we thank you so much for all that you bring to us, that you give to us, and everything that just is good about what we do. Father, we just thank you, and we ask for prayer and decisions made about the COVID vaccinations. We just hope that those that need it, get it, and those that are still thinking about it will really seriously think about getting this vaccination. But Father, we just thank you for continually to be with those that are afflicted by this pandemic. We ask for your mercy and we ask for your grace. And so, Father, we just continue to pray for our nation, that that all of our leaders, that they continue to lead us and to move us forward and keep us the leader of the entire world that we always have been known to be. And Father, tonight we pray for us as a city council. Father, we pray for continued decision-making, wise decision-making, and continued progress for our community and our own city. So, Father, we ask you all this in your son's name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Okay, let's go back to Brandon for a second here. So Brandon Castillo is in the first grade and he attends Chapman Elementary School. Brandon was selected to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance tonight because of his good grades and because he is always safe and respectful and responsible. Brandon, you did a great job tonight leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Everybody, let's give him a round of applause. You did really good. Thank you. And we're looking forward to, you're welcome. And we're looking forward to one day you coming back when we're all live and you can do it again for us. Okay, good job.
Like the bow tie.
I will.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Mayor Pro Tem, as always, thank you very much for leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance as well.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Your prayer was most appropriate here. Okay, so next we have a proclamation for Gardena Red Ribbon Week. And Red Ribbon Week, here it is. Okay, so proclamation, and we have tonight with us Tracy from ADAP here. Let me read this while she's coming on. The proclamation reads as follows. Whereas the abuse of drugs, alcohol, and tobacco impedes the ability of youth and adults to lead healthy, productive lives, whereas California has led the nation in making expansive investments in prevention by launching the most ambitious prevention education program statewide, advocating that communities and individuals continue prevention, education programs, and activities to discourage the abuse of alcohol, tobacco, and other drugs. And whereas the Center for Disease Control and Prevention and the U.S. Food and Drug Administration has issued information about recent outbreaks of lung disease, illness, and deaths associated with e-cigarettes and vaping use. Whereas the Gardena's Drug and Alcohol Abuse Program Coalition, in conjunction with the Gardena High School Task Force and ADAP, are coordinating Gardena's Red Ribbon Week celebration to support year-round prevention education efforts, offering citizens the opportunity to demonstrate their support of healthy, drug-free lifestyles and to develop an attitude of intolerance to the use of illegal drugs and the illegal use of legal drugs. And whereas established in 1985, the National Red Ribbon Celebration will be observed again in 2021 in communities across America throughout Red Ribbon Week, October 23rd through the 31st, during which the citizens of Gardena will show their commitment to healthy, drug-free communities by wearing and displaying red ribbons during the week-long campaign. So this time I proclaim October 23rd through the 31st, 2021 to be Gardena National Red Ribbon Week and encourage all citizens of Gardena to participate in drug abuse prevention activities in conjunction with these important observances and to be proactive within our homes, schools, neighborhoods, and Gardena community-wide to raise awareness and take action against the harm caused by alcohol, tobacco, marijuana, prescribed drugs, and other related drug abuse that can deeply impact the lives of our young people in our community. So the City of Gardena is pleased to support the National Red Ribbon Week 2021 celebration theme, Drug-Free Looks Like Me. Okay, and with that being said, I thought Tracy was going to be accepting the proclamation. Let's give her just a second to see if she can, she might be having a hard time trying to come on. Becky, just let me know when she comes in.
Mayor Serta, it looks like we may have another person that has come into the meeting to accept the proclamation.
Oh, that's fine.
Her name is Jessica Abaya.
Oh, okay. Hi, Jessica. You can go ahead and live now.
Actually, it's me. Sorry, it's Tracy.
Oh, hi, Tracy.
I'm logged on as Jessica. So sorry, my name got.
No worries.
So I am Tracy Sadowatari. Hi, hello everybody. Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Tracy Sadowatari, as I said, and I'm a community organizer in Gardena for ADAP. I'm also the chair of GDAP, an adult coalition here in Gardena, which focuses on substance abuse prevention through presentations, events, and activities. And another part of my work is with a substance abuse prevention group on the campus of Gardena High School. high school task force. The students are educated about the consequences of substance abuse and help to pass their knowledge on to their peers and the community. We work together and in collaboration with the city of Gardena in our recognition of Red Ribbon Week. This year, we're hosting a number of Red Ribbon Week themed contests for students in elementary, middle, and high school. For the elementary school students, we have a coloring contest and a classroom door decorating contest. For the middle and high school students, we host an essay and poster contest. Residents can contact me via gdaptaskforce@gmail.com for more information on these contests. Information has also been dropped off at the schools as well. And we will also be decorating the area surrounding City Hall with red ribbons, which the residents of Gardena will see if they go to the Harvest Festival this weekend. But now I want to provide just a brief history of Red Ribbon Week. Red Ribbon Week came about as a tribute to DEA agent Enrique Kiki Camarena, who died trying to end drug trafficking. Individuals wear red ribbons in recognition of his efforts and to raise awareness about drug issues. And as a token of our appreciation and in honor of Kiki Camarena, I left some Red Ribbon Week pins for all of you to wear during Red Ribbon Week. Hopefully you got them, the week of October 23rd through 31st. Oh, good. Thank you, Councilmember Francis. And I want to thank you so much for recognizing our efforts in the city of Gardena with this proclamation and for always supporting our efforts and honoring our collaboration together. So with that, thank you again so much. And the proclamation is beautiful as always. And that's it. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Tracy. Appreciate all the efforts that you guys do throughout the year. And yes, we got it.
Great.
Okay. So next we're going to move on to our consent calendar here. And Madam City Clerk, do we have anybody from the public wishing to speak on anything on the consent calendar?
No, we do not, Madam Mayor.
Okay. Does any member of the council wish to speak on any items separately here? No? If not, can I get a motion to approve the consent calendar as is?
So moved.
I'm sorry, who said that?
Rodney and me.
Okay. Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka and a second by Councilmember Kaskanian. Will you call the roll, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka,
Yes.
Councilmember Kaskanian,
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Francis,
Yes.
Mayor Serta.
Yes. Okay. Let's see. So under Planning and Environmental Quality Commission action sheet, the October 5th, 2021 meeting was canceled. So we're going to move on to oral communications. Madam City Clerk, do we have anybody under oral communications who wishes to speak at this time?
No, we do not, Madam Mayor.
Okay. So let's move on to item number 12A, departmental items. Mr. City Manager, you're up.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and members of the City Council. Agenda item 12A is a contract building services agreement with BPR Consulting Group, Inc. to provide buildings, official, and other plan and permit processing services. The Community Development Department is responsible for providing building and safety services such as plan checks, plan routing, permit processing, and inspection services. For many years, the city has utilized a combination of both private and in-house staffing to fulfill these duties. For the past 2 months, staff has monitored and identified a need to improve services. The city's current private companies are qualified, competitive in pricing, provide professional staffing, and have been providing adequate services. However, staff recommends the city seek a new company, BPR Consulting Group, to look at new ways of improving services, consolidate the use of 3 entities to mainly just 1, and bring best practices and experience from other cities, and reevaluate the way the building division is operating and implement necessary changes in order to reduce the time needed from application to permit issuance. Staff is respectfully recommending that City Council approve an agreement with BPR Consulting Group, Inc. for building official and other building and safety services. The financial impact is $300,000 for general funds are available to be spent during the remaining fiscal year budget. What's required tonight is approved contract with BPR Consulting Group Incorporated. And I believe we have our director, CDD director, Greg Fujiuchi, and presentation tonight.
Yes, good evening, Mayor and members of the council. Tonight with us is members of the BPR Building Services Consulting Group. They've prepared a short presentation. I'd like them to present, and then we can open it up for any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Greg. My name is Ron Beeler. I'm principal with BPR Consulting Group. Tonight with me is Bill Rogers, Bill's partner with BPR Consulting Group, and Roger Peterson. Also with us tonight is Mark Berg. Mark is our proposed building official for the city of Gardena. We have a brief presentation we'd like to run through here, and then we'd be happy to answer any questions you may have. With that, I'd like to go ahead and start I'll share my screen. Okay, we're BPR Consulting Group. We provide building department services to public agencies throughout California. We have clients throughout California. Our company consists of veterans of the building safety industry. Myself and my partners have pretty close to 100 years experience. We've worked in building departments. I have most of my career, and so have Roger and Bill. We work with building departments, large and small, currently with BPR, and in the past with other employers. We're a California registered small business. Our staff consists of ICC certified, International Code Council certified building official, plans examiners, permit technicians, and ICC, the certification basically demonstrates code knowledge and the level of competence. It's fairly common requirement within the building safety industry that appropriate certifications are held by the individuals providing services. Our focus is building department management, and then we have provided and currently provide to other agencies a whole host of building services, including building official, building inspection services, plan review, and building department support services. We have extensive experience working with cities throughout California. We've worked with the city of Pomona managing building safety services for over 10 years. Our experience also includes we recently, let me back up, City of Lake Forest. City of Lake Forest is a long-term client that we've been involved in management of the building department services. We applied for the Building Department of the Year award a couple of years ago for CalBO. CalBO is building industry lead organization in California, California building officials. And we were awarded the Building Department of the Year for the service improvements and efficiencies that we'd implemented at Lake Forest. It was the first time that CalBO ever granted that award to a consultant managed building department. So we were rather proud of that at the time. Closer to Gardena, we've worked with the city of Gardena through a tri-party agreement. We managed the plan review and inspection services for the almost complete NFL headquarter building next to the new stadium, and also managed the plan review and inspection services for the outdoor mall project being constructed adjacent to the stadium. And then noteworthy, town of Atherton. We had the opportunity to transition the town of Atherton from city staff at one point about 10 years ago to a consultant model. And we've been able to greatly improve the efficiency and timeliness of the services provided to the community. Current service levels, as based on my discussions with Greg for the city right now, 7 to 9 day wait for building inspections, plan reviews scheduled in a lineal approach where one department at a time reviews documents rather than a concurrent approach utilized by many building departments in California. And then counter services, there can be a 2-day to 3-week period between plan review approval and permit issuance. Our goals for the department are to provide next day inspection services. It'll take a little bit of time to get things caught up, but we hope to do that through addition of additional inspection staff until we get next day inspection services. Plan review will implement service goals based on types of projects and monitor those service goals. Permit issuance is standard in the industry, that at least in the cities that we work with, and we've had the opportunities through our career to work with the vast majority of cities in Southern California, Northern California, Central California, is permit issuance either over the counter for minor permits or with 1 business day from plan approval. And then, the other important customer service, it shouldn't even be a goal, it should be a standard that we implement, is phone calls and emails returned the same day, if not within 24 hours. This chart shows what we propose to the city for plan review turnaround for projects, different project types. It's very, very common. It's pretty much standard for most of the cities in the state. We have an initial submittal that allows adequate time to review the plans in detail, and then timing for back check reviews. Back checks, usually what we're doing is we're reviewing our initial comments or concerns and looking to see how those were addressed. So we can accomplish a back check typically in about half the man hours, half the effort it takes to perform the initial review. Enhancement goals for the city. I've had extensive discussions with Greg over the last month and a half, 2 months or so. Our initial goal is to improve building department services to the levels that I just indicated. We want to work with community development director to develop a parallel review process for projects that require multiple department approvals. So when the project's submitted, it goes to everybody that needs to look at it. So everybody's doing their initial review concurrently. It'll save substantial time for larger, more complicated projects. Greg and I've had several discussions about the need for outreach. It's often I talk to building officials and they don't really grasp the importance of an efficient development review process and the link to the economic vitality of the communities that we serve. We understand that, we see that, we believe in having a predictable, timely, and transparent process is essential to promoting economic development in the communities that we serve. And then lastly, where we provide multiple services, we'll work with Greg to develop a performance report for building department services that will capture our plan review turnaround times, inspection performance, permit, a variety of statistics that are important for the building department. How many permits are issued each month? How many permits or how many projects are issued certificates of occupancy? How many inspections are performed? That sort of thing. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you. Greg or Clint, did you have anything you want to add before I open it up for questions and comments?
I don't have any at this time, but I am prepared to answer any questions, Mayor.
Okay.
Neither do I, Mayor.
Okay. Well, first off, I'd like to just, sir, thank you for the presentation. I think it was very informative. I have a couple of questions, and I'm sure my colleagues do as well. Is it typical when an inspector goes out and they see, like, let's just say 4 issues, and they'll tell the resident, okay, you need to fix these 4 issues, and then when they come back, they may find 4 more things that are wrong, or do you usually find everything at one time? generally
Well,
speaking?
that's a great question, Mayor Serta. Ideally, when an inspector goes out, they identify the issues that need to be addressed.
Okay.
Occasionally, the way those issues are addressed may create additional code compliance problems or concerns or issues. The goal is to identify and not just identify. I'm not a big believer in hit and run type inspections. I show up real quick, write a correction letter, and run off. I think the important thing is that before the inspector leaves the property, that they communicate clearly ideally to the contractor, whoever's performing the work, whether that be a homeowner, what the issue is and what they need to do to address it. And by doing that, I've found in my career, you're able to eliminate a lot of this, what from the permit holder, it feels like, and I gotcha. Every time the inspector comes back, there's something new. We're not a fan of that. We don't support that. But, in all honesty, sometimes there are situations, especially when you're dealing with electrical safety or gas or venting of appliances that have severe life safety impact that it needs to be addressed and followed through.
Okay, I see. I like in your presentation just, how speedy the different things you guys are looking at, next day approval, in some situations. I think that's great. But I do have a question for our director. I noticed on, I think it's on page 2 of the staff report. So right now with I believe our current person is Mr. Handler. And I noticed where under hourly rates, we have him as a building official. When it comes to an inspector and then a technician where it says not applicable, if he was our current person, who was actually the inspector and the technician in that part, or did we have to hire out for that?
Currently, we're using an in-house building permit technician and also a contracted technician. Actually, 2 in-house permit technicians and 1 contracted. And then for inspection services, we have 1 full-time in-house employee, and we have 2 part-time contracted inspectors.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right. Thank you. Does anybody else have any questions or comments at this time? Let's start with Councilman Cascini.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. Wheeler, great presentation. Thank you very much. I have a first question to our director, and then I have another question for you, Mr. Ron. Greg, since we are considering hiring the BPR consulting company, just a question. I'm just curious how this thing works. When you go to a restaurant, you go on Yelp or Google, check their reviews and everything. How is the BPR consulting their reviews are from other cities?
Well, in their presentation, if you notice, they have their review guidelines or what their set expectations are. Those expectations are exactly what they're proposing or currently providing in other cities and what they're proposing here for Gardena. So if you're looking at efficiency or time of return, that's what it is as in the proposal. If you're looking at a restaurant, and I'll refer to Ron to elaborate, but if you have a very simple restaurant, that's something that's going to be plan checked in-house by BPR. But if you have a very large restaurant or sophisticated one that may require a team of plan checkers, BPR would send that offsite to be done so that we could still meet those 10-day turnaround times for initial plan check reviews. And Ron, if you can elaborate on that and help understand.
Sure. Where we see often where building departments, I say get in trouble, where they fall away from their performance standards, ideally 2 weeks for initial or 10 working days for initial plan review, 5 days for back check, next day inspections. When a large project, you get a department that does water heaters, re-roofs, remodels, repairs, small tenant improvements, and a large project comes along and that gets stuck in the queue. Everything backs up behind it. So most of the building departments that we work with, we have contracts with multiple agencies in California that just use us for plan review for the larger projects. We maintain a staff of plans examiners that work outside of the city that handle and provide plan review services for the larger projects. It allows the staff assigned to the city to continue to provide good service and timely services without this large project creating a backlog. Bill Rogers, who's with us tonight, manages our plan review group. Bill and I have worked together for the past 15 years and have provided services in that manner for probably close to 90 different building departments throughout California.
Okay.
See. And my next question is, Mr. Ron, with your experience with the other city, what kind of experience, well, what did you guys experience that it might delay the job? Then, we'll hear that, oh, I said and he said or something, you know what I mean? Like, if you guys proposed, you guys presented to the city and waiting for the city, and in what any specific department that you guys have hiccups,
That's a great question. It really varies by city. It seems often fire departments review can slow things down, but we've also have worked with some cities where even, internally public works, maybe there's not adequate staff to review project timely. When we convert to a parallel process for review, any issues with inadequate staffing or timeliness in other departments will quickly come into view for us, and that'll give us the opportunity to address those. But in my experience, I've encountered cities where a few years ago I was interim building official in Costa Mesa. Costa Mesa had gone through a significant challenge in staff reduction, and the performance really in building planning and public works was not optimum, and we work collaboratively together to try to get projects back to where they can be reviewed consistently using the same time frame, because it doesn't really benefit a permit applicant if building department completes their review in 2 weeks, but they have to wait 3 weeks for fire or 4 weeks for public works or one of the other agencies that's involved. And so to correct those types of issues, it really takes an understanding of where the issue is, and then leadership through the community development director for support.
Thank you very much, sir.
Any other questions or comments?
Madam Mayor, I have a question.
Okay, Mark, and then we'll go to Paulette.
Thank you. I want to thank BPR for their presentation, and I definitely want to thank the CDD director for identifying the need and requirement. One question I have for the city manager and/or for the CDD director is in regards to the competitive process and how we were able to acquire BPR. I didn't see anything in the staff report about a competitive process to make sure everybody had a fair opportunity to solicit proposals for this Gardena need. I didn't see that anywhere.
Good evening, council member. Yes, and I came in and in a couple of months, there seemed to be quite a number of issues in the building department. I noticed that you had already 3 contracted private companies that you were using, and they were vetted out. They also went through a process of being measured. And so I took those 3, knowing that they already been vetted, and put them up against a known consulting company that I had worked with in 2 previous companies, and just looked at the pricing. They all had a tremendous amount of experience, JAS, J-Lee Engineering, even your individual Mark Handler had a number of years of experience. And so I think it was a quite competitive process without having to go to RFP, which would have delayed it several more months. And quite frankly, I think the city was really in need of a quick fix. This was something that's been lingering, I could tell just from my experience in running other departments in other cities, and that needed to be addressed quickly. So I took the 3 that were already vetted and being used by the city, made a comparison of pricing, experience, looked at what BPR had done as far as this town of Atherton, and where I recall speaking with other individuals in Bell, Eastvale, and whatnot, even going so far as to speaking to Ron's former boss and his qualifications, and recommending BPR with confidence for them to make that turnaround for the city of Gardena.
Thank you for that. I just kind of want to remind us, and although the other process would take a little bit longer, it definitely shows that we're being a little bit more transparent, because we want to make sure, again, a $300,000 contract, we want to make sure that it's not going, there's no cronyism or something like that occurring in situations like that. But I understand the expeditious nature of this need, so I completely agree. But we just need to be careful in regards to contracting how we go about doing that, because in the event, it's not a shortcut, because I believe, you did everything above board, but we need to make sure that everybody's informed in that process. So we've already kind of been behind a little bit. So another 60 days is not going to, delay us any further, so long as everybody's aware of the process that takes place. I just want to remind city staff of that, just to make sure. But thank you for that response.
Thank you, Councilman.
Okay, Councilwoman Francis.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Councilmember Henderson asked one of the questions I had, because I was concerned about whether or not there had been a competitive process to make sure that we are getting the best price as well as the most qualified group to perform this task for us. And so I am. Did the other groups have an opportunity to? Well, I know you've already had experienced their performance, but did they have another opportunity to come forward or say, or you didn't talk to them at all? You just kind of.
I reviewed their agreements, the current agreements they had with the city and their proposals, but I did not individually speak to them about re-proposing since they already had an agreement with the city.
Yeah, and you didn't, was there, what do you call it, requests for proposals? Did any of that go out? I didn't, not that didn't happen. Is that?
No, we did not do a RFP for this process.
Okay. All right.
Councilmember Francis, and I just wanted to chime in a little bit here. When I discussed the issue with Greg, and him and I had a conversation as far as the process, it was almost seemed like it was more of an emergency situation that we were facing here because of the backlog that we were experiencing. And we've heard from, several different community members that are trying to get their stuff done. But what we haven't heard are the ones that are waiting in the queue and potentially, being delayed even more. So we knew that there was a lot of people that have been delayed, and there's a number of reasons for that. And, one of the reasons we can blame COVID for that. But we needed a good, solid fix for the problem. And, when Greg approached me to solve this problem with this solution, I completely supported him because of the nature of the problem that is just it's backlogging, and it's just it's just snowballing, and we needed a solution to the problem. Otherwise, we would have gone to RFP and did the whole thing, and but again, it would have taken months before we could even get this thing started and selected the right consultants.
I understand. I fully understand, because we get the phone calls as well and the emails, and but I'm just always concerned about. I think process is important as and when you are approaching a solution to a critical problem, process is your process, and how you go about finding that solution is just as important as landing on that solution. So I have some concern there, and I'm not quite sure what to do about it, how to proceed. But my other question is, if we had 3 different consulting companies in this department, what can BPR do that 3 consulting companies can't do or haven't been able to do? How does that work? I mean, is that a fair question? Does that, I mean, if you have 3 folks working for you already and you're just one group, and I heard your presentation is very, very good, by the way. What are you proposed to correct something that, am I making sense? Do you hear where I'm going with this?
No, I'll start off.
I got 3 companies working for me. Just like, if I got 3 housekeepers cleaning my house, and they can't get it done, how can one company get it done? What's different about you? I guess Straight Talk makes for a better understanding.
I'll start it off in general, Councilwoman, and then I'll lend it off for Ron.
Mm-hmm.
But what I've seen in my assessment is, we were putting Band-Aids on this and just plugging holes. And there was really no cohesiveness or real plan to tackle this issue. And that's what we need is a plan. And we need that data to support that plan. And that's 2 of the things that BPR, I approached them to do. And they came to me with that solution. And so I'll pass it off to Ron.
Hey, thank you, Greg. It's a great question, Councilmember Francis. Looking at the current operation of the department, it has the customer service, it is lacking in some areas. And when I look at that and look at the current staffing, the difference is current building official is an independent contractor. He is a 1-person firm. He's not set up to hire employees, at least to the best of my knowledge. And so the city has 2 other contracts with 2 other firms that we know very well to provide intermittent staffing. And it's, there's a multitude of employees working for different firms. The benefit with BPR is, once we get through the initial evaluation transition phase, all additional consultant staff will work for us and be under our direction and take, their orders or responsibilities directly from myself or Mark. And there won't be this fractured chain of command. Greg will have Greg involved. Him and I will be in frequent communication. It's not appropriate for consultant staff to supervise city employees, so they'll fall under Greg and his leadership. All BPR staff will fall under my direction. You'll have 1 consultant. We're prepared to, as I mentioned in our presentation, to provide monthly updates on our performance. We want a transparent process, a transparent system. If the city's unhappy with our performance in 6 months or a year, I would encourage you to keep, look beyond. But I'm confident that, based on our experience with other building departments and having been involved with building departments for over 30 years, that we can figure out an approach to create efficiencies, service levels to those common with other communities in the area, if not, better than how they perform. And so I think that's, I hope I answered your question with kind of this fractured leadership. We're hoping to bring that into, really, there's 2 people. There's Greg and myself, and we're responsible for the performance of the building department. The staff, rather than working for multiple consulting firms, eventually they will all work for BPR, and we'll have the ability to add staff, to change staff if we feel somebody's not a good fit, and to adjust staffing levels in close coordination with Greg. But it won't be somebody taking direction from another firm.
So, I think I heard a couple of things. Help me if I'm not hearing clearly. You're also going to be responsible for hiring additional consultants. staff?
No. Additional, if the building, right now, building inspections provided by 2 other firms and permit technician by 1 other firm.
Mm-hmm.
Ideally, we want the ability to manage the staff effectively and to select staff that's appropriate. So the goal is that BPR will be the primary consultant for managing building department services. And we take that responsibility very seriously. We look forward to the opportunity to work with City of Gardena for many years. And to do that, we need to do what we say we're going to do. We fully intend to do that, to improve service levels to the standards for the industry.
And Councilwoman, maybe just for a little clarification, they're not here to replace any current city staff. We will continue to use our city staff. They will augment our city staff with their consulting services. And as you've noticed, and as I've looked back and spoken to our current staff, you've gone through some unprecedented times with building construction going on. Never have I seen 4 very large multi-family projects going on simultaneously in this city. I look back, I don't see that ever happening. No. And so you're falling behind because of that, and we don't have the inspectors. Just for example, you don't have the quantity of inspectors needed, but BPR will be able to bring those on. And then when those projects finish up, sometimes you go back down into a normal way of, permitting, and you don't need to have that increased number of inspectors. Our 1 in-house inspector would be sufficient. But when times ramp up, we tap on BPR and say, hey, we need an inspector, maybe just for this 1 project, or maybe we need 1 3/4 time for a few months, and then we scale back again. And that's one of the advantages of using a consulting firm.
Anyway, what are the cost savings? Are we saving any money by just going with BPR as opposed to what we already have?
Well, our fees, they're based on, when we do a fee schedule and we set our fees, they're based on cost of providing that service. And so, we don't make money off of issuing building permit fees. They're there to cover the cost of performing the services to issue that permit fee. And so one of the great things that I was able to negotiate with Ron, and he agreed, was those big projects that we're going to be sending off site, they're percentage based. So, if it's a large project, they'll maintain a certain percentage of those fees. And we know that we'll never expend any more than what the permit fees cost us. And that's kind of your check. And that's an industry standard out there in other cities that Gardena has not yet implemented. And so I've started to implement that with the offsite plan checks. And, based on their performance, if we want to keep them around, we can continue negotiating an agreement where that even includes perhaps in-house services. But, for now, I think we need to start moving toward industry standard that other cities are implementing, which is a percentage-based compensation. And Ron, you can talk about that also.
What Greg's mentioning is a model utilized by vast majority of the municipalities in California, cities and counties that we work with, where ideally for a building department, you keep the small projects in-house so you can process them quickly within a very short period of time and issue the permits. The larger projects are typically sent off. We work for a pretty good group of cities and counties that just send us those projects that plug up their own queue, their in-house queue. And the idea behind the percent of fee compensation method is that, as Greg mentioned, our cost for our services will never exceed what the city charges. And actually, it's about 25% less than what the city charges for those same services. We have one client that has us do projects hourly. And there, the risk is shared. Our cost of our services on some projects may exceed what the city charges, but that's what their comfort level is. The standard with the vast majority of the cities to have cost certainty, knowing that when there's a large project that's outsourced, that our fee won't exceed what the city charges for the plan check, is to operate on a percent of fee basis. The standard out there is anywhere between about 70 and 80%. With the city of Gardena, we propose 75%. So for a large project, the city keeps 25%, help pay for the counter operation. And then we take the risk. And that forces us to be efficient. We do plan review. The vast majority of the projects that we review are approved at the second, some cases a third review. It takes the complaint and the desire for any type of, as you mentioned earlier, kind of that I gotcha type mentality out of it, because our compensation's fixed. It becomes a challenge for us now to review the project and get it to approval in an efficient manner. There's typically no additional benefit for us to prolong a plan review for those projects that are sent off-site. And now it's done actually electronically.
Thank you for the answer. I was just wondering, in terms of, how you can compare services? You can say, well, by using this service, we're going to save $100,000 as opposed to using someone else. That was what my question, because I took a look at what your fee schedule and how you percentage and all that, and that seemed to be fairly reasonable. But I'm just wondering, what would the savings be to us? That, I think that was my question. But but we don't have a comparison, so it's kind of hard to make that determination. I understand that. And this is going to be my last question. You talked about phases, going to different phases of transforming. And I understand that we haven't had a community development director for a while. And with COVID and everything, we've been impacted by staffing, as well as the multiple projects coming as you mentioned. So that was really basically the root cause of our problem, essentially. But you talk about this it's not like you're transforming the department. It's kind of a transformative type of approach you're taking. So you say there's one phase this, one phase that. How long do you expect this transformation of? How long? What's the time period here? How much time we're talking? We're talking about a year, 2 years, or just this year, or 6 months? And when you're gone, what happens then?
So, great question. Excellent question. I just not 1 year by any means. Our goal is, once we initiate services, is to assess and immediately. The thing that drives me nuts is 7 days for an inspection. I'm a licensed general contractor, structural engineer in the state of California. If somebody told me I had to wait 7 days for an inspection, I'd blow my cork,
Because we only have one. We have one guy. And from what I've heard from folks I've heard, he's a pretty, he dots his I's and crosses his T's. So he does a very thorough job, as from what I've heard from other folks. I'm all for proper inspections. Oh, for sure. We have to be.
They need to be timely. So our initial goal, and I'm hoping within 4 weeks of initiating services, that we can get to where we have next day inspections. And that's going to require some additional staffing to knock down the backlog. Once we knock down the backlog, we'll evaluate the daily inspection requests to make sure that we're staffed appropriately to handle the typical daily inspection requests. The next thing is plan review. Right now, the city uses a database that has a lot of capabilities. I haven't had the opportunity to do a deep dive into it to see what type of reporting we can or is already established and what we need to establish, so that we hold ourselves accountable to our clients. And we need to utilize the database to measure that performance. So when we say 10 days, working days for an initial review, we'll report on that to show the Greg and city manager how we're doing. And same thing with next day inspections. I think the parameters that of the building department performance is important to monitor and understand, because it has such a huge impact on the economic health of the community. When businesses come to open a business in Gardena, they start paying rent typically on the space right away. And to unnecessarily delay that building permit, there's no need for that. Idea is to get that business open quickly, so they can start paying sales tax and employ people and benefit the community. So I hope I answered your question. I'm passionate about this. I could keep going.
I was just trying to figure out, is it $300,000 we get the job done, or $300,000 for a couple months, or just something so we'll have some way of how can we
Well, the $300,000 is what we have available for the remaining of the fiscal year. And if you recall, we don't know what projects are going to come in. If nobody wants to build a project, you won't have any money or any need to pay BPR, because there's nothing for them to review to do. And so in theory, you could, spend $100. But if you have a large amount of projects or a few large projects, then the costs start incurring. But at the same time, you're also taking the permit fees in. So remember that if the cost is good, and I ran into this in several other cities, I managed the building departments, is if the cost to BPR is going higher than previous years, that's a good thing. That means there's a lot of building going on in the city. Because again, it's commensurate with the permit fees we're collecting. If you're only paying BPR $100 in a fiscal year, that's not good, because that means no one's pulling permits to build anything in the city. So just remember that the more you pay out to your building firm, that means you're getting the commensurate fees that go along with that.
Okay, I guess my biggest concern is that there was no competitive process. So I have nothing. I have nothing to make a comparison to. Although your presentation was excellent, and I believe that you probably can, but I just have no comparison. So that's my concern. I think that process is really important. So thank you. You did a good presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Cascadian, you had a question?
Yes, Madam Mayor. Actually, Greg explained the $300,000, how it's going to work out. That means we're not going to just hand them $300,000. Here it is for the rest of the fiscal year. So that question is answered. But I was reading the contract, and if we decide to terminate the contract, and it says 3 days notice, so there is no any proration or no nothing for us to compensate BPR consulting company, right?
No, we would just pay them for the services they had rendered up to that period. And I think, I thank Ron for accepting that, because I think that attests to their confidence that they're going to perform to our standard.
Thank you.
Okay, Mark, you had a question?
Yeah. Greg, this is more or less of a strategy question, and I try to get out of the tactical operations of a department in the city. But in regards to the other three firms and them now taking leadership from BPR, how do you get them to accept the cure? Because I don't think in their previous agreements with us that they were going to ever anticipate that they would now take direction from another consulting firm. So how are you going to get everybody to accept the cure and kind of move forward so we can get these SLAs met?
Well, remember, the strategy is to relieve the three current firms and rely on BPR. So we're consolidating the three under basically no longer using those three and using BPR for the same services. So we have the cohesiveness of one contracted company along
so
with our
BPR is replacing the three when we say relieve the
Correct.
three.
Correct.
Okay, so there'll be no longer the three, there'll just be the one.
Correct. And, there's a strategy. Sometimes we have good contractors that maybe Ron will interview and they I don't know, I'll defer to Ron, but I know these companies and working in other cities, you'll see one employee working for one company, all of a sudden they're working for another. And so I think they steal each other's employees.
Okay. So I have just a couple of quick questions here. Right now, do we use like a portal for our residents or building or businesses if they kind of want to track the process? And if we don't, will you guys have something like that so that a person can see without contacting you guys, like where we're at in their process?
Currently, we do have a software that we're using. It's called Microsoft Teams.
Okay.
Ron is also familiar with that application. But one of the things, this is, to me, and I think almost everyone, is unprecedented because of the COVID times. We had to rely on those types of softwares where usually things are being done in-house at the counter. But a lot of the communication that's been occurring because of COVID has been through email, phone, and non-physical meetings. And so that kind of forced almost all the cities into using some sort of a tracking software. Okay. And so we have I think a few different softwares we're using. One is Trackit, one is Microsoft Teams, and one is Bluebeam, which is a plan review software. Ron in BPR is familiar with all three. And I'm hoping that when he comes in, he can assess whether all three are actually needed or if we should be consolidating into one or two. I have a little, my thought is I think we're probably one application too many like we are in consultants. So that's my overall feeling, but I've asked Ron to assess that when he does arrive.
And this software, is it pretty user-friendly as far as for our applicants?
I see the younger contractors really taking hold of it. I think they're kind of accustomed to that. Okay. I see the contractors that have been doing this for 30 years and never had to do this, not really feeling comfortable using it. Okay. And it runs the gamut. Okay. And I think it has something to do with the technological savviness of each individual and how comfortable they feel with software. So I think it's maybe something that's here to stay, but I don't think we'll ever close our doors to physical counter work either.
Right. Okay. Well, I think my question was answered earlier, Mr. Bueller, when you mentioned that, I guess if it's needed, you can bring in more people to catch us up. For instance, like we're very behind right now. So I think that's great, the company that has that flexibility. And if not, then we go back to a normal standard there. So are there any other questions or comments? Go ahead, Councilwoman Francis. You're on mute.
This is probably more, okay. It's probably more for City Manager Florio. Are we, as a city, are we required to do requests for proposals when we're contracting out for any type of service? Do we have an obligation to anybody or any entity to do a request for funding, request for proposals, or can we just, do like we did today? We have an urgency, have immediate need, let's just get it done.
So for professional services, we don't have a need for an RFP or request for proposal. Furthermore, our policy states that during, exigent circumstances such as this, or like an emergency, we don't need to run an RFP, whether it's professional services or contractual services. So our policy does have a flexibility on it.
So we have a policy that says we don't have to?
That's correct.
Okay. Any more questions or comments?
I have a quick comment.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, that's good. So yeah, I agree, that an RFP is normally needed during hiring of a company that's going to do work for us, especially in this long-term method that we're using. But I kind of have to applaud Mr. Suzuki that he kind of saw that there's a problem, that problem wasn't being corrected, and that he took the initiative to try and correct that. And so, yeah, RFPs are needed, but under the circumstances, I think this was something that was needed. And I understand, Mark, you said, what's another 60 days, but the phone calls that we field, it's just, you understand the frustration of people trying to get through our CDD. And so, Mr. Beeler, thank you very much for the presentation. And for you guys, I like what you're saying, especially all the shortened times of getting things done. So I guess my wish for you is to have great luck and succeeding in what you're saying, because it will help the people trying to come to our city and build things and do projects. So with that, Madam Mayor, I'm done. Thank you.
Okay. Madam City Clerk, do we have anybody from the public wishing to speak on this item?
No, Madam Mayor, we do not.
Okay. Are there any more questions or comments at this time?
Quick question, Madam Mayor.
Go ahead.
This question to the City Attorney Vasquez.
Yes.
For any reason, if we decide to cancel the contract, can we cancel the contract with any other problem? We just wake up next morning and say, you know what? We don't need BPR anymore. Thank you very much for your service. We appreciate it. Thank you very much and bye-bye. Can we do that?
Yes, sir. There's a specific clause that was mentioned earlier, the termination clause, 3 days, as long as any outstanding bills, but we just have to provide them 3 days written notice.
I just want to clear everything. I just want to clear everything before I vote yes or no.
Any more questions or comments? No? Well, that being said, if BPR succeeds, so will the City of Gardena will succeed as well too. So at this time, can I get a motion to approve the contract with BPR Consulting Group?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka and a second by Councilmember Kaskanian. Will you call the roll, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka.
Yes.
Councilmember Kaskanian.
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Francis.
No.
Mayor Serta.
Yes. Okay. All right, moving on. Next item up is item number 13A.
Mayor Serta, members of the City Council, agenda item 13A is approval of the 2021-2025 Memorandum of Understanding MOU between the City of Gardena and the Gardena Municipal Employees Association, otherwise known as GMEA. I will share my screen now because we have a short presentation regarding this agenda. Okay, can you see the presentation?
Mm-hmm.
See Gardena.
All right.
I like the sign.
There's our beautiful sign, lit in red, white, and blue. Again, this is the presentation for the MOU with the Gardena Municipal Employees Association, otherwise known as GMEA. And this covers fiscal years 2021, 2022 through 2024, 2025. Okay, a little background on our negotiations with GMEA. As you know, GMEA is the largest recognized labor group in Gardena with 273 miscellaneous employees in their membership. This all started in September 2019, where we commenced our labor negotiation to replace the original MOU that expired back in December 31st, 2019. March 2020, the city and GMEA reached a tentative agreement. But as you know, COVID-19 took over, global pandemic. And with very much economic uncertainty, that MOU was not approved. Then from April 2020 to April 2021, the city worked with our bargaining groups and took significant actions. And this is a global effort, which required all our bargaining groups, GMEA, GMEO, even POA, our unrepresented. As I presented before, everybody took a hand in making sure that the city survives. So we took significant actions to address the economic fallout. We did layoffs, unfortunately. We had salary freezes. We had furloughs and other significant expenditure reductions. April 2021, we had seen some improvement on our financial projections. We had some great things that we worked on during the pandemic, and as a result, we were able to move out a little bit out of that financial crisis. So we restarted the labor negotiations with GMEA. Then in June 2021, we reached a 4-year TA, a tentative agreement, which will cover from July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2025. Then on October 7th this year, GMEA members voted to ratify the new contract. So first and foremost, I want to talk about the most important aspect of this MOU, which is salaries, right? As you can see on your left column, we have your fiscal years, again, from July 2021 to July 2024. So the first year, in July 2021, the city is to provide GMEA members with a 2% COLA increase effective the first pay period in July. July 2022, we had agreed a 3% COLA increase effective the first pay period in July 2022. And in return, the membership of GMEA will pay an additional 1% compensation towards the CalPERS member contribution rate. It's a cost sharing wherein they pay an additional 1% that particular year towards their CalPERS contribution. 2023 and 2024 are very similar to 2022. In fact, that they're identical. They're to receive 3% COLA increases for the next two years, and also an additional 1% cost sharing for 23 and 24. I'm going to stop here and see if you feel any questions as far as the compensations portion, which is the most important portion of this agreement. No? Okay. So we also agreed on other benefits, Matron Duty Pay, effective July 2021. It's going to be $100 per month, payable and biweekly at a rate of $46.15. These are for positions identified by the Chief of Police to perform matron duties and have received certification for those duties. Food allowance, these are for PD non-sworn, which are members of the GMEA, will be $100 per year, payable at the first pay period of each calendar year. We also we're also going to be giving benefits to Mechanic Automotive Service Excellence, otherwise known as ASE program. This is to incentivize employees to participate in the ASE accreditation. This is a certificate program. It's to enhance knowledge and skills of mechanics and technicians. So if you go to any qualified reputable shops, repair shops, you'll see ASE certification plaques and certificates on the wall. This is it. This is to enhance their skills by going through additional classes just to be ASE certified. The third component here would be our post-retirement health insurance. We have a number of different tiers now that we have this new agreement. The first tier is everyone that was hired before July 1st, 2002. And it's the requirement is 13 years of full-time service, and you must be enrolled in the city's health insurance plan, and also be at least 55 years of age. And there are no changes from the previous contract on this tier 1. The tier 2 classic, this would be a paid health insurance coverage for a single party only. These are for folks that are hired on or after July 1st, 2002, but before July 1st, 2021. You have to be at least 55, elects a city service retirement, meaning you have to retire from the city, and commence to receive CalPERS retirement benefits. You have to have 20 years of service in the city, and you must have been enrolled in the city's health insurance plan. If you want additional parties included, you have to pay for the difference of the two-party versus single-party premium. For this contract, there is no change on the Tier 2 Classic. The Tier 2 PEPRA is for paid health insurance coverage for a single party only. These are for people that are hired on or after July 1st, 2002, but before July 1st, 2021. You have to be at least 62 and elect city service retirement and commence to receive CalPERS retirement benefits. You have to have 20 years of service and you have to be enrolled, would have been enrolled in the city's health insurance plan. Again, for additional parties, you have to pay the difference between the two-party and the single-party premium. For this contract period, the Tier 2 PEPRA has some changes. It would be for people that are hired on or after July 1st, 2002, but before July 1st, 2021. Again, you have to pay the difference between the two-party and single-party premium for an additional party. And last but not least, we have the Tier 3, hired after July 1st, 2021. You have to be at least 55 for Classic or 62 for PEPRA for full CalPERS retirement service. You have to have 20 years of full-time service and enrolled in the city's health plan and receive 75% of the single-party rate. 25 years of full-time service and enrolled in the city's health insurance plan, and you receive 100% of the single-party rate. So that's the difference between the two. There's a tier within the tier. If you have, like I said, if you have 20 years of service, you receive 75%. If you have 25 years of service, you receive the full single-party rate. Retiree coverage will be terminated upon the date retiree becomes Medicare eligible, meaning 65, you get off of our plan and you go into the Medicare plan, or death. The time employee participates in premium split option plan will not count towards your full-time service requirement, meaning that if you get out of our city plan and you receive that premium split option, those years that you were on the premium split will not count towards your service requirement. And any full-time service employee who waives health insurance coverage and not participate in PSO or premium split option will have the opportunity to have their service time count towards full-time service requirement. All this Tier 3 for this contract year is new. Vacation accruals and use. Vacation accrual will be capped at 432 hours. The cap will take effect on July 1st, 2022. If maximum accrual amount is reached, the affected employee shall cease to accrue vacation hours until such bank is reduced. So you have to have some kind of a bank reduction plan if you do reach the 432, because you are going to stop accruing anything over 432 hours. And on June 30th, 2022, city will buy back any vacation hours excess of the 432 at 100% value as a cash out or conversion to 457 plan, the rate of as of June 30, 2022. Some other benefits for G-Trans personnel on the operations supervisor training program. This offers the bus operators a path to future promotion to transit operations supervisor. Distracted driving policy, establish a policy to ensure safe environment for employees and public while operating the city-owned vehicles and equipment. And very similar to the other ASE certification program, this is for G-Trans. This incentivizes employees to participate in ASE certification program, again, to enhance knowledge and skills of mechanics and technicians. We also added some layoffs and recall procedures. This is just cleanup language from the existing or the prior MOU, revision to performance evaluation form. This is going to be a reopener issue in July of 2023, and then reopener for classification and comp study that will take place in September 2023. The results of the study will be factored into consideration of equity and certification. So in summary, again, GMEA is our largest group with 273 employees. Presented before you tonight is a 4-year MOU with the GMEA, again, from July 1st, 2021 to June 30th, 2025. It aligns with the parameters set by the City Council in consideration of balancing continued fiscal prudence while continuing to invest in the city's most valuable assets, its employees, and remain as a competitive employer. The total estimated fiscal impact is $5.36 million for the term of this contract. This is broken up as follows. General fund is at $2.15 million. Trans is responsible for $2.68 million, and all the other funds will be around $530,000. Again, I want to thank all the parties involved here, all of our GMEA members, their board members, our city's negotiation team, and of course, our City Council and our staff for allowing us to come to a conclusion to this lengthy process, but it's a necessary process in order to be able to take care of our most valuable assets, our employees. This time, I will stop now and take some questions.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. City Manager. I'd like to first thank you and all the parties involved in this negotiation, because as you said, this was a very lengthy process, and I'm glad that we could come to some type of agreement here. Does any member of the council have any questions or comments at this time? Let's start with Councilmember Cascania.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just have a comment. Regarding, I just want to thank everybody from the council, of my colleagues, city manager, staff, especially the employees, that they waited all this time and they agreed on every single issues, or on every single items that we agreed on. So special thanks goes to the employees and all the members of the union. So thank you very much. That's all I have to say.
Any other comments or questions? Councilmember Francis?
Yes, as a union member myself, I really appreciate the time and energy spent in negotiating, coming to a contract agreement. I know it's not an easy process, but with everybody working together, and we have a wonderful staff and a great director and city manager and those that are involved in the process. So thank you very much for your hard work and bringing this to a conclusion. So thank you.
Councilmember Henderson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. City Manager, regards to vacation cap, I know we all accrue vacation pretty quickly and everything. In regards to vacation approvals, because we're capping at 432, but people sometimes can go over, what's our vacation approval process? Let's say if we have a festival coming up or whatever, but I'm going to be going over my allotment. Is my vacation denied because of the events coming up, or is it still approved? And so I can move forward. How's that going to work out?
It's usually on, and thank you for your question, Councilmember Henderson. Usually on a needed basis, as far as is your position critical to the mission at hand, which is, let's say, for instance, an event. In that case, if you're required to work at a particular event, then you would have to, find another slot as far as, vacationing. You may not be able to take it that weekend, but usually our directors or supervisors, managers work with city staff in order to be able to accommodate vacation requests. Very rarely do we deny vacation requests, only on really circumstances that need their help, that we really have them work that time frame. I don't know if that answers your question.
No, it does. It answers the question. I just want to make sure that there was some flexibility from the supervisors and managers in regards to those vacation times, because, like I said, we all accrue pretty quickly, and I'm trying to get it down, but this event comes up and I had planned my vacation, a month prior, and then this thing happens. and everything like that. And then I may or may not be critical, but I don't want to go over my cap. So I just want to make sure there's some flexibility. So I don't just start working for free or lose that time that I've accrued. Okay.
Right. Usually it's a very fair process, if you will. We have a log of the folks that are taking vacation already. So if you've already taken vacation at Christmas, for instance, and there's an event coming up in the new year, that's just using an example, then you got to give other people the opportunity to take a vacation, and you got to work that following week. They're usually very flexible as far as accommodating, the next week and taking that time off.
Okay, thank you. That's all I had, Madam Mayor.
Okay. Madam City Clerk, do we have any questions from the public?
No, Madam Mayor, we do not.
Mayor Pro Tem, did you have a question?
Yeah, no, it was just a comment. At one point I was the president of GMEO back in the day, and being a member of the police department for 31 years, I want to applaud and thank city managers, city staff, and especially the members of the GMEA that sucked it up. They forewent their contract for a year to help us out. And because of what they did and the other organizations did, our city is in a good position right now for all the sacrifices that were made. So thank you very much.
Okay. Any more questions or comments? With that being said, can I get a motion to approve the MOU and authorize the city manager to execute the MOU with the term of July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2025?
So moved.
Second.
Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Councilmember Henderson and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka. Will you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Henderson.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka.
Yes.
Councilmember Cascanian.
Yes.
Councilmember Francis.
Yes.
Mayor Serta.
Yes. Okay, next up is item number 13B. Mr. City Manager.
Mayor Serta and members of the City Council, agenda item 13B is a discussion and consideration regarding resuming in-person meetings for the Gardena City Council and its legislative bodies, and consideration of resolution number 6534 to authorize remote teleconferencing meetings in accordance with newly adopted Government Code Section 54953 EAB 361. On September 16, 2020, Governor Newsom signed Assembly Bill 361, which authorizes local agencies to continue to hold public meetings remotely under modified teleconferencing requirements set forth in the Brown Act during a state-declared emergency, as that term is defined, and when either state or local health officials have imposed or recommended measures to promote social distancing, or in situations where the legislative body has determined that meeting in person would present imminent risks to the health and safety of attendees. AB 361 went into effect immediately and sunsets on January 1st, 2024. Modified Brown Act requirements under AB 361 include, among other provisions, that members of the public must be allowed to address the body and offer comments in real time during the meeting. In the event of a technical disruption, the public agency cannot take any further action on the agenda until the issue is resolved. Public agencies may not require public comments be submitted in advance. This is still a permissible option, but cannot be a requirement. Members of the public must be given a reasonable time to register to provide public comment, and agencies that provide a timed public comment period shall not close the public comment period until that time period has expired. Following the signing of AB 361, and as of the state of the pandemic evolves, it is prudent for council to discuss and provide direction to staff on the manner in which public meetings by the City Council and its legislative bodies will be conducted. So the first option is to elect to return to in-person meetings, follow traditional Brown Act requirements, and follow safety protocols. Should a City Council elect to return entirely to in-person meetings, COVID-19 infection protocols as set forth by the federal government, State of California, County of LA, and any other local rules put in place would be followed. Currently, these protocols require all individuals, regardless of vaccination status, to wear face masks. Option number two, to This is to elect to hold remote meetings and follow modified Brown Act requirements under AB 361. Should the City Council wish to hold remote meetings under AB 361, Council would need to adopt Resolution number 6534. Under AB 361, legislative bodies of the city can meet remotely during a declared state of emergency by the governor that includes the jurisdictional boundaries of the city if the legislative body determines that one of the following is also true. 1. State or local officials have imposed or recommended social distancing, or 2, to determine by a majority vote whether to hold remote meetings as a result of the state of emergency because meeting in person would present imminent risk to the health and safety of attendees, or 3, the legislative body holds a meeting having already determined by a majority vote to hold remote meetings. If the above conditions are met, then the City Council can conduct meetings remotely via Government Code Section 54953E. For the first and second conditions, Council must determine by majority vote and by adoption of a resolution the grounds for electing to continue with remote meeting procedures. For an agency's legislative body to meet virtually, it must provide for certain criteria to ensure that members of the public may access and participate in such meetings. Once the initial authorizing resolution is adopted, ongoing authorization every 30 days is required by a majority vote. If the legislative body desires to continue using the teleconference exception, it must confirm the circumstances of the state of emergency 30 days after the first teleconference meeting and every 30 days thereafter. There is no financial impact. What's required tonight is it's recommended that City Council discuss and consider the following options regarding the manner in which public meetings will be conducted. Again, option 1, commencing October 26, 2021, to return to in-person public meetings. Option 2, commencing October 26, 2021, conduct public meetings virtually for meetings of all public bodies subject to the Brown Act in accordance with the requirements of AB 361 and adopt resolution number 6534, which will require reauthorization every 30 days. And option 3, other options as directed by the City Council.
Okay. All right, so it is up for discussion, the options there. I have a couple of questions for the attorney. So I noticed when it was in the notes here, it mentioned regardless of your vaccination status. So a person wouldn't be required to show their card prior to coming into a council meeting? Is that correct?
That is the current status. We do mention in the staff report that that's subject to the federal, state, or local rules changing. At this time, for an indoor setting as our council chambers, there is not a requirement that you have to be vaccinated in order to enter. The requirement is, though, is that you must wear a face mask.
Okay, so as council members, even though we'll have petitions up there, while the meeting is going on, will we still be required to wear a face mask during the meeting?
That is correct, pursuant to the council order.
Wow, okay. Let me open it up to everybody else. Anybody else have any questions or comments?
I have a comment. Since I've never had the experience of an in-person meeting, because I happened to get elected during during the COVID. But beyond that, that's a personal issue. But beyond that, I think it's important that as we move forward, as best we can, to have in-person meetings to allow the public back in. What confuses me is that to go to, I don't know if that's just LA City or it's just a county, but going to a bar of other place, you have to show some type of vaccination or proof of a negative test. So why wouldn't that be the same for this kind of meeting?
That is not the current requirement, Councilwoman Francis. For example, there's different rules from the city, from the county. Some are more restrictive than others. For example, you need it for a bar, but you don't need it for a restaurant. That just varies. At this time, though, there is no requirement that as you enter a city chambers that you must be vaccinated. But again, this is very fluid and is changing as we speak by the day and by the week. So I wouldn't be surprised if down the road that will become something else.
Could we implement that rule that you must show a card or have some process for people to? The only example I have is in my church. There's a process we go through, make a reservation, and then you state your status, either vaccinated or negative test and all that. So could we create that kind of rule?
I would need to do some research into that, Councilwoman Francis, because you can't prohibit the public from having access to the government body. I would need to do some research into that. Also, there would have to be an alternative option where they would have a negative vaccination potentially. But even then, there's the potential if there's a lot of exemptions for religious beliefs, for medical reasons that someone cannot be vaccinated. But yet they should be allowed the opportunity to enter the council chambers and speak to the council, because they fall into this exception. So you cannot do a rule where you would simply say you have to be vaccinated or you can't come in. But that is something that if the council wants to consider, I could go back and conduct further research into that. As the federal mandates are coming down, we're also waiting. President Biden had recently announced a mandate. We're waiting for the logistics of that to be issued out. And I would recommend actually to the council that if you're considering making that mandate for the public, that you wait to see what the federal government does first.
If we offered both the virtual meeting as well as the public meeting, would that make a difference?
That is an option for the council to consider. You could have the option of a hybrid if that's what you choose.
Yeah, I would definitely, because I'm sure there'd be some people that still want to attend the council meeting and hear them, but not unless they want to come in person. So at least we have both opportunities.
And I would need to inquire with IT, because we aren't currently, as far as I know, not set up for a hybrid. We're either set up for what we were before, which was in person, and we have that technology, or we have all Zoom. So I would ask the director of finance whether to inquire from his staff in IT whether that's even a possibility, and if it's not, the cost that would be attributed to the city. So those are, I don't know that information tonight.
I can chime in on that. Currently our technology, especially in the council chambers, does not support hybrid model. We would have to revamp the entire chamber in such a way to accommodate a hybrid model. And at this point, I'm not recommending a hybrid model simply because of the additional cost for doing that. We don't know what that means as far as the equipment that we're going to buy that's going to be rendered obsolete once the law changes again. So my recommendation is either to resume the Zoom meetings that we have currently that we're doing, or we move into full in-person meeting as we've known in the past. The hybrid model is something that we're not prepared for, and it's not something that we can easily deploy. Technology-wise, there's a lot of restrictions and limitations that we would have to overcome.
I think Rod get his head up first.
Well, talking about the hybrid is an issue because the South Bay COG was actually going to look into hybrid, and there's additional cost. There's all kinds of things that we would have had to have done to our conference room. There's additional equipment that you have to buy. And it's not just, it's not as easy as just putting a screen up and then doing Zoom meeting along with the council meeting. So that's all I had to say.
Okay. Councilmember Henderson?
Yeah, I was going to state that, Mr. City Manager, having done a little research on what that hybrid looks like, it is very costly endeavor because the infrastructure is not in place to support a hybrid solution. However, I'm for either option 1 or 2, but I think option 2 would be good with us renewing every 30 days, because I think our participation from the community has gone up because it's been more convenient for folks to actually engage our council meetings, because now they don't have to try to, even though we're only 6 square miles, they can just engage us from their living room. And we've made that availability open to them. And a lot of folks have actually participated. I've kind of looked at some of our participants, not tonight, but we've had a lot more participants than we did even prior to COVID and everything, unless we're talking about fireworks or something that's one of our historical hot button issues. But I think we should go with option 2 until all of the things come down from the feds and the county, and then we'll see what we need to do until January. So I'm an option 2 guy.
Okay. I have a question. Art, I'll get to you in a second. What happens if a couple of council members are not comfortable with meeting in person and the others are? So then does that mean it goes to a hybrid then, which we know is going to cost more than if, let's just say 2 of us say we're okay with still meeting by Zoom, but then the other 3 want to meet in person. What happens then?
So we don't, in order for those that want to meet in Zoom, we all have to meet in Zoom because we don't have the capability.
Right. Got it. Okay. Got it.
So, Madam Mayor, if I could add, the biggest challenge on the hybrid model is to overcome the acoustics limitations that we have. Because we've tried it before. I think we've tested it before. There's just a lot of echoing. People can't understand what people are talking about in a room when they're listening in from a electronic model. So from a Zoom model, you're listening in. It's very hard to discern what people are talking about that's in the room because of the acoustics.
Right.
Very, very, it's not a pleasant experience.
Okay. Councilmember Cascadian?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So my concern is, as much as I want to be in person, the meeting, my major concern is, how about if our meeting went until midnight, 6 hours, and then we have to put that mask for 6 hours, then we're gonna sweat and everything else. I mean, breathing. That's my concern is, right now, everybody in his own, living room, doing, the Zoom meeting. So that's, even though we have the partition, that concerns me as well, that we have to wear the mask. So, that's kind of, I'm hesitant on that.
Right.
So,
Councilmember Cascadian, I wear a mask for 6 hours a day and then some as a classroom teacher, and it's doable. It's doable. It's not probably the most, once you get used to it, it's okay. But I guess my other concern is issues, with an individual wanting to wear a mask and not wanting to wear a mask. So we may be opening a Pandora's box, but my hope is that going forward, we'll be back to in-person meetings, perhaps sooner than later.
Okay.
Work out. So,
I like option 2 as far as staying on Zoom. And I'm a big advocate for wearing a mask because I don't want to get sick. But it is more convenient and comfortable for us as a council because, we're the ones making these decisions here for our city. And when you're in an uncomfortable situation like that, it makes it harder. It makes us want to hurry and get out of our seats and go home. No different than sometimes when we haven't had dinner and we're coming to a council meeting and we're getting really agitated or something like that. So I think it's important that we're able to be comfortable while these meetings are going on. And at the same time, I feel like we're still making every opportunity available to the public, whether you want it by phone, by Zoom, all of those things. And I know there's going to come a day where we're going to go back to being in public because, I miss it too, but I'm also concerned about the health of everybody as well too. So that's a big concern of mine. And especially as elected officials, people are still always coming up with us, after meetings, wanting to talk to us, et cetera. So sometimes, it makes it kind of hard with the social distancing. So for me, I'm open to option, not open, but I like option number 2. And I think the fact that if we're reviewing over this once a month, we're not just flat out saying no, but as was mentioned earlier, things are changing on a regular, I don't say regular basis, but things are changing quite often here. So I like option number 2. Councilmember Cascadian?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Madam City Attorney, is the option the face mask? Is that an option, or it has to be like surgical mask we have to wear in our mouths? I mean, like, you know, that the protection shield?
I understand, Councilman Cascade, but per public health, it's the face covering. The shield would not be sufficient to address the order requirement.
I would love to go back to in-person meeting, but I don't know. As Council Member Francis, she mentioned, she's a teacher, she wears it, she's used to it, but I wear it rarely, to be honest with you, Paulette, you know? I wear it rarely, and for me to wear it like 6 hours, I mean, I'm not saying 6 hours, but at least 5 hours straight, you know, from 7 o'clock for closed session and go on. So that's, you know, throws me off, because, but again, I'm a person in-person meeting, but that face mask is going to throw me off.
Yeah, I think moving forward, if it is required that we have a reauthorization every 30 days, we kind of take a look at things then. I think probably we should probably go, I can live with option 2. You know, a little while longer won't make that much of a difference. And I think we'll be okay.
And I'll tell you, because the meeting in November, we only have one meeting. You'll be seeing this again if you decide to go with option 2. We won't make it the 30 days, so it'll have to be on in the October 26th meeting again, because again, we won't make 30 days from here until November 16th. And we'll have the similar situation in December. And then when we go back to if you guys go back to 2 meetings, obviously, you'll see it once a month. But when we have only 1 meeting a month, you're going to see it more often. But again, you would get to reevaluate this in the council. If you guys want, I could also put it on the consent calendar at every single meeting, which allows you to reassess it at every meeting that you have.
I think it will be easier if it was on consent, because at any time, if anybody needs to pull it, they can. And because, you know, with the numbers, as the numbers are starting to go down, I mean, I think that's going to be in our favor as far as moving back towards, you know, meeting in public. But for right now, I don't know that we're quite there yet. Mayor Pro Tem, did you have your hand up? I don't know. I saw somebody.
Well, I just kind of wanted to echo what Mark had said, and I agree with that. The attendance has actually gotten larger, and you know, it's just like us being at home. It's like they're at home and they don't have to, you know, get out of the house and drive to the council meeting and sit around for, you know, 2 hours to wait to get whatever they want to do to say. But I think it does promote a lot more participation from the community, and the people that we're serving, if we want to listen to them, hear what they actually have to say, then the Zoom stuff is really good. The second part is I'm in that age bracket that I'm not real comfortable being around a lot of people, you know, in a closed session all the time. And I'm like you, I wear my mask and I've been vaccinated, but I had a friend that's fully vaccinated, got COVID and died. And she was younger than me. So it's kind of like, I can wait until, you know, January, December, or whenever it is that we go back. Yeah, so I'm up for Zooms on
this option 2. You know, if most folks feel more comfortable waiting and having a Zoom meeting, I'm okay with it. Because for the sake of our health and as well as the health of our public, our constituents, we do need to take that in consideration as well and make the best possible choice we can. Like I said earlier, I think with the masks and the vaxxers and the no vaxxers and all that, I think we may be opening up a Pandora's box that we're not really prepared to handle right now. So I think in the long run, and since we, as City Attorney Vasquez said, we have an opportunity to review it every 30 days, I think that's fair, and I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, we have to look out for our city employees too that have to come to these meetings.
Well, everybody's involved. You know, we're all important, so I can. It'll be okay. It's just I look forward to the day when we can, because I really believe that government ought to take place in public with people in person. And that's these government meetings and all of should be in public, in person. That's my foundation. But because of what's going on right now in our world, we can't. And that's something we have to accept. But as soon as we can have government in person, I'm all for it.
I agree.
And safely.
We're gonna bring cake that day too to celebrate you.
Absolutely.
That we will.
See I missed, but that's okay. I'll be all right.
Don't worry, it's coming. It's coming. We never got a chance to do that. It's coming.
Right.
So everybody's feeling comfortable with option number 2 for now, and then it being on the consent calendar?
Well, not with the consent calendar, because I think we need to be able to discuss it, because we know our new ordinance, you have to have 2 people to agree.
2 votes, yes.
So why don't we just put it on the...
Not when it's on consent calendar. That only requires 1 person.
But I now, wait a minute.
You're calling plan for review, call for review. That's from the planning. That's different. That's call for review. Any item on your consent calendar only requires 1 person to pull it.
Okay, it's only, but if, okay, I won't belabor the point, but anyway.
Paulette, I want to make sure you understand. So consent calendar, 1 person can call for it. Planning has got to be 2 people. Same thing with directives is 2 people. So for that one, just so you're comfortable.
Yeah, but the call for review is not the same as a directive. And so at least that's what the lesson I learned the last time that I was explained to, but not to go on however you want to proceed with it. I'm okay with it. I'm not going to.
As far as consent calendar, but so just so everybody understand, consent calendar, 1 person can call for that one under consent. Is everybody comfortable with that? Option 2? Okay.
Yeah, let's go. We need a motion or?
I need a motion for you guys to adopt resolution 6534.
Okay, so at this time, I'm asking, take a motion to adopt resolution number 6534, which is option 2 for us. And then for this to show up monthly on our consent calendar.
I'll second, or I'll move that.
I'll second it.
Okay, Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Councilmember Henderson and a second by Councilmember Cascanian. Will you call the roll?
Councilmember Henderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Cascanian,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka,
Yes.
Councilmember Francis,
Yes.
Mayor Serta.
Yes. Okay. Next up is COVID-19 update.
Mayor Serta, members of the City Council. For tonight's COVID-19 update, our total case count in the city of Gardena has increased 99 cases from 2 weeks ago. That is up to 7,775 cases. As far as death count, unfortunately, we did have 1 more death due to COVID-19 from 2 weeks ago. For our vaccination status, age 12 and up is at 78.4%. For youth, that is 12 to 17, that is 62.4%. And for our seniors, which is 65 and above, that is at 89.5%. We, as you know, we partnered with the COVID clinic to provide a no-cost COVID-19 testing at Raleigh Park. And since August 23rd, 2021, we've tested a total of 913 residents, which is an increase of 298 since the last meeting. And we are averaging around 21 residents a day in COVID-19 testing. Madam Mayor, that ends my COVID-19 report.
Does anybody have any questions or comments? Councilman Cascini.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. City Manager, you know, we partnered with the company and they're doing the COVID test. Is this, they do PCR test too as well? If, you know, like if they're gonna, you know, travel or something, they give the results. Is that acceptable at the airport?
They have there is a PCR test, and it takes 2 to 3 2 to 3 days to get your results. It's not your home kit that you can buy. It is a valid test that they provide, and it does take. It's not an instant test.
I see.
Yeah.
So it takes about 72 hours to get the result. But if still, you know, you get the result, is that acceptable at the airport? Do you have any idea? I mean, if I go tomorrow over there and my flight is on Friday and my result is negative, does the airport will accept their results?
My understanding it is a valid test. I can look into it and make sure from them, get it from them and provide a report to City Council, just so that everyone's aware of that. But my understanding is it's yes.
Okay. Yeah, if you can give us a report on that, that would be great.
In fact, I got a definitive answer now. Yes, it is valid.
Oh, it is valid. Okay.
Yes, it is.
All right, thank you.
It's good to know. Any other questions or comments? No? Okay, thank you, Mr. City Manager. Next up is item number 15A.
Mayor Serta, members of the City Council, agenda item 15A is the award engineering design services contract for the local streets improvements fiscal years 2020 to 2022 project. The local streets improvement project is part of the annual capital improvement project program or CIP. Streets surfaces to extend pavement life, asphalt overlay, to increase structural pavement or reconstruct pavements where the life cycle has maximized. The project is to primarily utilize the pavement management program or PMP report, a record of public requests and field inspections to identify the streets and street improvements. Typically also consist of replacement of access ramps to comply with ADA regulations, traffic striping and signing, and replacement of cross gutter, damaged curb and gutter, and sidewalk. The design services are to develop the final project list and prepare improvement plans, specifications, and cost estimates that consist of research and data collection, utility coordination, design survey, base mapping, centerline ties, bid and construction assistance, as-built construction plans, and etc. Staff extended an RFP for engineering design services to 4 on-call consultants. However, only 2 consultants, DMS Consultants, Inc. and Cruiser Consulting Group, responded to the request by the deadline of September 2nd, 2021. After reviewing each proposal, staff is recommending that City Council award the engineering design services contract to DMS Consulting, Inc. based on their understanding of the project, qualification that includes past Gardena projects, and lower fee up by $24,020. DMS Consulting, Inc. is one of 5 city on-call civil engineering design consultants approved by the council on August 19, 2019. The city's on-call agreement requires any services exceeding $100,000 to be approved by council. DMS Consulting, Inc. is currently providing civil engineering design services to public agencies in the cities of Diamond Bar, Fountain Valley, Fullerton, La Mirada, Newport Beach, and San Dimas. The consulting firm was established in 1994 and is staffed with qualified engineers, ensuring the project will adhere to all engineering standards. DMS Consultants, Inc. will augment the capacity of the Public Works Engineering Division in performing design engineering for the project. The fiscal impact is for the approved budget amount of $2,445,047. We've not spent anything on this project. The approved budget amount remaining is $2,445,047. The amount requested for approval tonight is $149,650. The funding source is SB1 and Measure M. And what's required tonight is to award engineering design services contract to DMS Consultants, Inc. in the amount of $149,650 for the local streets improvement project, fiscal years 2020 to 2022, job number 987 and 994. I believe our Director of Public Works, Alan Brigg, is here to help us with any other questions.
Okay. Does any member of the council have any questions or comments?
I have a comment, Madam Mayor.
Okay,
I did read their proposal, and I went through the experience that they have. They look great, I think. I mean, the experience and everything, it's pretty good. I did read truly to make sure, and they have a positive impact on several cities. The closest one is La Mirada, that they worked on it on 16-mile project, and they were very happy with it. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Madam City Clerk, do we have anybody from the public wishing to speak on this item? I think you're muted.
I'm sorry, we do not, Madam Mayor.
No? Okay.
No, we do not have anyone.
Okay.
Thank you.
Right. Okay. If there are no other questions or comments, Alan, you're off the hook. So at this time, excuse me, can I get a motion to accept the, to award the engineering design services contract to DMS Consultants Incorporated in the amount of $149,650 for the local street improvements for project fiscal year 2020 through 2022.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Madam City Clerk. I'm sorry. Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Councilmember Cascadian and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka. Will you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Cascadian,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka,
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson,
Yes.
Councilmember Francis,
Yes.
Mayor Serta.
Yes,
Madam Mayor, can I interrupt for a moment, please?
sure.
I think there is a delay with Council Member Francis. She moved the motion too as well, but she came in late after I said yes, and Tanaka said yes, and then her motion came in. I think there is a delay on her end because I hear her over us.
I thought I heard that too.
Yeah, so I think there is a delay. That's why we can't hear her straight up because when she moves any motions.
Okay.
So I think she moved this project first, so
Yeah.
we can vote on that.
If you like, I can.
That's fine. Yeah, yeah, she moved it. That's fine.
Councilwoman Francis, I can show us that you moved the item number.
Okay, it's okay. As long as we have to do a revote. We wouldn't have to redo the whole thing over. We can go as it is.
You would be fine just that we can show on the record for the city clerk who made the first and who made the second, but the vote is still the same, a 5-0.
All right, thank you.
Since it was delayed, let's just show Councilwoman Francis moved it and then it was seconded by Mayor Pro Tem.
That's fine, yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you for that. Next up is item number 15B, Mr. City Manager.
Mayor Serta, members of the City Council, agenda item 15B is actions relating to Raleigh Park Baseball Diamond Restroom Rehab Project, Site Prep, job number 968. Staff respectfully recommends that City Council award construction contract for Raleigh Park Baseball Diamond Restroom Rehabilitation Project, job number 968 to Dirk ENC Incorporated, Gardena, California, in the amount of $105,550 and approve the project plans and specifications. Following bids were received on September 30th, 2021. Dirk ENC Incorporated of Gardena, California for $105,550 and Metro Builders and Engineering Group from Newport Beach, California for $107,290. Lowest responsive bidder, Dirk ENC Incorporated, is a state licensed general contractor with verified successful construction experience in the field, including recently completed Massachusetts Park shade structure project. The project scope includes demolition of existing and site preparation for new modular restroom building, not limited to reestablishment of electrical cabinets, utility connections, perimeter slabs, and asphalt paving, minor landscaping, hazardous material abatement, and to coordinate receiving of new modular restroom building. On October 22nd, 2019, Council approved the purchase of a modular restroom structure from Structured Cast Company in the amount of $199,300. Structured Cast has since completed the engineering construction drawings and is ready to begin the building fabrication. Duration is anticipated to take 30 fabrication days and 35 site preparation working days. The current programming of projects to be funded by park and loop fees does not have a sufficient allocation for the project. Staff is recommending a budget transfer of $119,000 park and loop funds from job number 961 Bell Park Rehab Project to job number 968 Raleigh Park Baseball Diamond Rehab Project. The Bell Park Rehab Project is currently suspended until the citywide park master plan is conducted. Budget amounts for the variety of park projects have been placeholders without significant details on estimates. An environmental assessment has been prepared in accordance with CEQA guidelines and has been determined that the project is categorically exempt. The financial impact, the approved budget amount of $225,000. Actual expenditures encumbered project to date is $207,503. Approved budgeted amount remaining is $17,497. Thus, the amount requested for approval is $119,000. Funding source is Park and Lieu. What is required tonight is to award construction contract for the Raleigh Park Baseball Diamond Restroom Rehab Project for site preparation, job number 968, to Derek ENC Incorporated of Gardena, California, in the amount of $105,550. Also to approve project plans and specifications, approve budget transfer of $119,000 Park and Lieu funds from job number 961 Bell Park Rehab Project to job number 968 Raleigh Park, a baseball diamond restroom rehab project, and to declare this project to be categorically exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act, Section 15302, Class 2, as a replacement of existing facilities.
Okay. Does any member of the council have any questions or comments at this time? Okay, let's start with Councilmember Henderson and then Councilmember Cascadian.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. City Manager, in regards to the rehab of the restrooms, are we going to put signage on there that's going to be gender neutral signage on the restroom, or are we going to go with binary designations for the signage for the restroom?
Alan, do you have any data on that as far as the signage?
I believe it shows, Madam City Clerk, can you go to the third slide? So, yeah, I don't think that we've come up with the designation. I was hoping it would show on the doors there, but at this point, I don't know the designation, whether we're going to make those gender neutral or not. It would seem to make sense, but I would look to get direction from Director Santine, and however she thinks is appropriate for the safety of the patrons and for the use of the restrooms, that's what we will do.
Okay, I mean, we definitely should look into making sure that we're as inclusive as possible in regards to our designation. So I'll let staff work that out. Thank you.
Councilmember Cascadian.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. Rigg, is this restrooms gonna be open 24/7 or only during, if the park is in use?
I believe only when the park is in use, but again, I kind of build things and Director Santine gets to operate them. And so I would defer to her as far as when she would manage these.
I see. So that's a question I would like, because I don't know if it's going to be 24 hours public use. Some people will go in, and just stay in there during overnight. So that's a question.
Okay, can we get Director Santine on? Or unless Mr. City Manager, you have the answer to that?
Yes, it's when the parks are in use.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry, Mayor Pro Tem, I think I saw your hand up.
Oh, no, the bathrooms are locked up when the park closes. Mm-hmm. So staff goes around and locks them all up.
Okay, were there any other questions or comments?
Madam Mayor, I have a question. So these are, I've been trying to picture them. So this is the bathroom that's right there in front on Van Ness. So each the one on Van Ness, and there's one over on by the parking lot. So these are the bathrooms that are being replaced.
Yes, Becky, can you go to the first slide, please? But to answer your question, yes, to the slide that shows the overall area you just added a second ago. But they are, yes, Councilmember Francis, they are the ones that are on Van Ness within the parking lot.
That's the one we're replacing. Is that correct? Yes. And the cement one, the one that's like the stucco one, that's remaining, or by where that one's remaining. We're not taking that one, just this one. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and just one other quick question. It doesn't we in the auditorium, the bathroom in the auditorium, were those ever well, I don't know, you weren't here, but maybe city manager might know, did we rehab those too as well? Or they're not included in this? They were trying to bring them up to ADA compliance.
I don't believe so, but we can double check on that.
Yeah, I mean, while we were redoing bathrooms. I don't know if we can kind of throw that in but.
Buy one, get one free.
We would have to get a specification on that as far as costing.
Okay.
Yeah, we would have to. As far as I know, it's not. We didn't do that yet.
Yeah.
We'd have to include that.
Yeah, and I know this one really needs to be updated, but also let's not forget the ones in the auditorium that our seniors use when we're going forward in person again, and other programs. So this is used quite frequently as well, but the indoor one, I think, really is out of compliance, as last I heard.
So I think if there's a balance of projects that need to be completed in parks, Alan, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is going to be a part of the parks master plan, isn't it?
It is.
So the auditorium bathroom is going to be upgraded at a later time, and just this one for right now? Is that how we're doing it, or this more critical?
So a variety of different projects were identified several years ago, and this was one of them that was a high priority project. There's 4 or 5 others. What we are currently undergoing is the completion of a park master plan for Massabuk High. We're working on that with Director Santine and a consultant. The next step would be to do a master plan for the rest of the parks within the city and to come up with all sorts of different upgrades. I think it's no secret to anybody. We've got a lot of work to be done. We have a lot of buildings that are dilapidated and out of date. And what that park master plan will allow us to do is to take projects like the upgrading of the bathrooms in the auditorium, the work to all the other parks and different facilities, come up with costs and prioritize those because there's a lot of need. So we definitely be included in the analysis where it would come out in the rankings. That's something the council would be involved with at a later date.
Were you aware that there was a master plan in existence already? Are you working for that one, or is this a brand new master plan? Because there was one. I can probably find it and email it to you. I guess maybe it's a year old, maybe. I think I'm not quite sure, but there is one already in existence. I don't know that have you had an opportunity to look at that, or like I said, I can email it to you and it may be incorporated into your new master plan. But
happy to take a look at it. I wasn't aware of it.
Yeah. If I found it, it's yeah.
There is. I believe the county did. It's not exactly a master plan, but it's kind of a needs assessment of different parks, the need for new parks, and the need for major facilities that I think is 4 years old. What our master plan would, this would drill down further into actual projects and to prioritize those. So it was kind of an overall master plan that the county did for all cities. And this would be a master plan that would come up with the specific projects.
I'll email it to you because it didn't state needs assessment, it did state master plan. So.
Awesome.
Okay. Are there any more questions or comments? No? Okay, hold on one second. Let me get my screen better. There we go. Okay, if there are no, Madam City Clerk, do we have anybody from the public wishing to speak on this?
No, we do not, Madam Mayor.
Okay. With that, I'm sorry.
Quick question. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
I'm assuming that this bathroom will be ADA compliant with wheelchair access and all that?
Yes.
Better be.
I just want to make sure, because it really needs, it goes without saying if you've been there.
Yeah, these plans were designed by a licensed architect, and then they were reviewed and approved by our city building officials. So all applicable ADA codes have been implemented.
Okay, thank you for that.
Correct me if I'm not mistaken, anything that we build, and I don't know what year was, but moving forward from this part, it'll always be ADA compliant at this point, right? Isn't that like a requirement from now on, whether we're talking about a curb or a bathroom or anything like that? It has to fall under the current guidelines of being ADA compliant.
You know, for the interior buildings, I wouldn't want to respond because that's not my area of expertise. Okay. Outside of buildings, absolutely. So like in the last job that you just approved, which was the design of local streets, what we have to do when we do an asphalt overlay, a rehabilitation project on streets, we have to make everything ADA compliant, which is why we tear out a lot of handicap ramps at corners. You see a lot of concrete work, like on the most recent Western job. We took out all the concrete ramps and replaced them. So absolutely everything we do new has to be ADA compliant in the public right of way.
Okay. All right.
Doesn't hurt to ask.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. I just did it for my own edification. So, okay. With that being said, can I get a motion to award construction contract for the Raleigh Park Baseball Diamond Restroom Rehabilitation Project, JN 968 to Derek ENC Incorporated, Gardena, California, in the amount of $105,550. Also approve the project plans and specifications. Also approve a budget transfer of $119,000 park and lieu funds from the JN 961 Bell Park Rehabilitation Project to JN 968 Raleigh Park Baseball Diamond Restroom Rehabilitation Project, and declare this project to be categorically exempt under the California Environmental Quality Act Section 15302, Class 2, as replacement of existing facilities. Can I get a motion? Anybody?
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Who seconded that? I'm sorry.
Henderson.
Okay. Madam City Clerk, there was a motion by Councilmember Cascadian and a second by Councilmember Henderson. Will you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Cascadian.
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka.
Yes.
Councilmember Francis.
Yes.
Mayor Serta.
Yes. Okay. Next up is item number 15C. Mr. City Manager.
Mayor Serta, members of the City Council. Agenda item 15C is a citywide wayfinding entry sign program project, job number 507. This item was presented at the September 28, 2021 City Council meeting, and staff was directed to provide additional information regarding the project, the consultant, and the scope of work. In response to this direction, attached to the staff report is a proposal from David Bolts and a presentation of the work plan, as well as the original RFP. On August 22nd, 2021, staff sent an RFP to a service that distributes RFPs to architectural firms throughout California. Unfortunately, no responses to the RFP were received. Staff then asked for proposals from several of our on-call architects that had been previously pre-qualified and with which staff could award a contract if the cost was under $100,000. David Bolts Architects was the only firm that proposed for the project. As the project was not previously budgeted, staff needed to request the City Council to appropriate the funds. The project scope is to help direct drivers on city streets to city facilities such as parks, fire stations, and City Hall. It is estimated there are 20 desired locations to promote. Additionally, the goal is to provide and develop signage to identify the boundary of the city on major streets. It is estimated that there are 25 entry locations to the city. All signs are expected to be mounted on poles on the sidewalk, parkway, or other city properties. The design phase consists of meeting with the consultant and stakeholders to identify routes, evaluate existing signs and structures to identify opportunities and challenges for use, including ADA and traffic parameters, to create a map and master plan for key vehicular signage placement, and develop signage and specifications for construction delivery. The wayfinding signage program is intended to reflect the community's values and identify and exhibit a cohesive design that in the simplest way directs residents and visitors to their designation. The financial impact is for the amount requested for approval, which is $100,000, which will include consultant, staff oversight, contingency, and remaining to construction. The funding source is a gas tax fund. And what's required tonight is to approve a budget appropriation in the amount of $100,000 from gas tax funds to begin the design phase of the citywide wayfinding entry sign program, job number 507.
Okay. Does any member of the council have any questions or comments? Let's start with Councilmember Henderson. Councilmember Henderson?
Yeah, I was on the wrong screen. In regards to, is there a presentation on the 25 points of entry that we have coming into the city? Because I count a few more. Do we have any idea where those 25 points would be?
Can I make a suggestion? Can we do the presentation first and then we go to...
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize it was a presentation. Sorry. I do have it in my notes. I'm sorry. Go ahead with the presentation.
Yes, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council. This is a presentation that I should have provided you at the last meeting. I think you're going to be very, very excited. It's a great program. We're ready to go on it, and I'm going to share my screen, and David Volz is going to go through his presentation. And if you can let me know, can you see my screen okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay, and I would hand it over to David.
Great. Well, thank you, Mr. Rigg. It's great to be before you this evening. This is an exciting program that we'd like to bring to your city. I do think it's well needed, and we do actually have a slide later on in the proposal that shows some of the signs that you have now, and we're hopefully we can vastly upgrade those to something that would be not only inviting to people coming into the city, but also wayfinding, in that you'd be able to find some of the major sites within your town. My firm, David Volz Design, we've been in business for 25 years. We're landscape architects. We have quite a bit of background in graphic design, and in my proposal, I included a number of signs that we've designed, both entry signs and wayfinding signs. In this presentation, I've included even more signs that give us an example of the citywide program for different cities in the area. So that these are kind of like style slides that we bring before the your committee to go over and see, so that we can start to come up with a direction. And we would eventually create a unique sign program for Gardena through the work efforts that we're going to put forward. We have basically 3 tasks that we're going to do to provide these signs. The first task would be concept development, and in that, one of the first things we'll do is to go to all the sites within the city where we could potentially put these signs. Mr. Rigg has already provided us with a map of several locations. We would verify those. We'd come up with any other locations that might come up through a vetting process. And then the next step would be come before committee, talk about signs in general, and then get input. We would eventually come up with several ideas for both city entry signs and wayfinding signs. And then we would come back before you, the council, and look to you to help give us some direction to finalize those concept plans, that we come up with a concept that everyone would be happy with. I know earlier in your meeting today, that nice sign that's at City Hall, the big letters is a new component to the signage throughout the city, and we'd really like to draw from that and really create some signs that you'd be proud of and happy to have in your city. So this the second step. So once we get a concept plan that everybody's happy with, the second step would be construction drawings, so that we can put together a bid package. They would be specifications and tell contractors how we want those built. And that would be a full package ready for bid out to contractors, and we're anticipating about 80 signs total, or something in that neighborhood. And then the third piece of what we'd like to provide is a style guide and a resource log, so that we understand this is not going to be the final sign program in your city forever. So what we'd like to do is we'll give you a report and a booklet and a specification that will be able to create more signs, different signs as time goes on, or even order just more entry signs, or however we prioritize the program as we move through this process. You'll be able to put together more signs or different signs. When your pool's done, you'll be able to look to this style guide to help keep all the signs within the parameters that we come up with in our concept planning. These are some examples of the signs that you have right now, and what we like to do is consolidate those into some stylized graphic mode so that they all look the same. And to confirm that these are the things that we want to say around town, and through this mapping system and through the initial concept plans, we'll look at these and decide if they're important, if they say the right things, and if they're in the right place. So I have 4 slides here just showing you different kinds of the styles that we would probably bring to the first meeting to say, hey, what kinds of things are you thinking about? Certainly like to draw from things that are unique to Gardena, and come up with a color pattern, with a type style, with some graphic motifs that would be stylized and unique to your town. Again, we didn't design all of these, but I think this is the style kinds of things that we want to talk about when we come before you and ask you, do you like this one? Do you like that one? What do you like about them? And how would we move forward from here? I think the final slide is a slide that Mr. Rigg put together that shows the many places where we should initially look to put signs, both entry signs and some wayfinding signs. And I'm sure through our initial survey throughout the city, we're going to come up with more places where signs can go. So we'll have to come up with a prioritization of where we think the first number of signs would go, and how we might implement those plans. And it'll also be based on, we're planning on putting together a log a photo log that would show each of these sites so that we can identify that there actually is room to put a sign and what kind of sign we might be able to put there. Most of the signs we understand will probably be pole-based signs, and we'll have to work through that as we move towards doing the concept planning.
If I may take over from David. So this drawing in particular, to go to Councilmember Cascadian's question, we put together this slide because we wanted to know how many individually designed signs we would need to go through, because for wayfinding signs, you have a different arrow, you have a different destination for each of these. So we took a look at these, and for example, on the right side, you see El Segundo Boulevard. At Van Ness, we would want to have a sign for the westbound and eastbound to indicate that the Raleigh Park is down Van Ness. So that's kind of what those arrows indicate. So we did this because his design scope is very large for these 80 or 90 signs that need to be individually designed and specified. For the city entrance signs, we said 25 just because that was how many collectors and arterials we have coming into the city. But realize that sign is going to be the same for every location. So we get one design, we could put in 20, we could put in 50. It's not dependent on and not necessary that David Volz spends extra time to design, whether it's 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 entry signs. It's one. And eventually we would come up with the locations, and part of this process will come up with where those are at. So that would conclude our presentation. We can go back to any slide that you'd like, and we're open for your questions, Madam Mayor.
Okay. So at this time, does any member of the council have any questions or comments? Let's start with Councilmember Cascadian.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. Volz, great presentation. I like the sign. I'm looking at my other screen and I'm going over the signs. Basically, the fees that we're going to agree on $100,000, this is only for you to design the signs, right?
It's actually the full three-step process. We propose to do the concept development and come up with the plans, and then do the construction drawings so that we can go out to bid and get a contractor to both fabricate and install these signs. And then we're also going to provide that style booklet so that we can, in the future, if you need to add more signs, it'll be an easy add.
So it's including in $100,000 all the signs, installations, everything that, from A to Z, correct?
All of the design work, yes, and the outreach. We also have a public meeting included in here, but it does not include the fabrication and installation, right? The concrete work, those kinds of pieces. That will have to be a bid after we get the construction drawings together.
And do you have any idea what are we anticipating to spend additional on top of $100,000 to install or make the signs and install the signs?
As we develop the concept plans, we will come up with budget estimates for each different kind of sign and how much they will cost, so that we'll have a good budget estimate before we come back to you and ask you to go out to bid to build these signs.
I see. So we have no idea at this time, what are we looking at? I mean, with your experience, 25-year experience.
No, I don't think we do know exactly how much this is going to cost, because we don't know how many signs, first off. We don't know, what kind of pole they're going to be on, how big they're going to be. We don't know any of those things, but through the process here, we will determine those. And you can see there's such a variety. We could bring costs into the factoring as we move ahead and decide. Obviously, if we put some kind of base under the sign, it's going to cost more than having just a pole mount, and a simple pole is less expensive than one of those nice poles that you see there. All of those things can be considered as we go through this process.
They look beautiful, and I would like to modernize the city, the entryways and everything. It's the idea. It's a great idea. I love it. I just, wondering as far as the cost was, what are we looking, and is the city ready to spend that kind of money? That's only the, question I'm asking, because, we'll pay you the $100,000 to do all the concept, the drawing and everything, architectural. And then next thing we know, it's going to cost us $3 million. I'm just throwing numbers. I'm not saying, but I'm just throwing numbers, $1 million or something. So I don't think so it will cost that, but whatever the number is, I just want to make sure, is the city ready for that or not? Because yes, we do need to upgrade and update our entryways, the signs. I see everybody else doing it, and they look beautiful. So thank you very much. It's a great presentation. I love it. Thanks.
Councilmember Cascadian, if I may clarify, Mr. Volz's contract is for $60,000 plus or minus. The $100,000 is to budget for staff time and any other contingencies if we need to have another consultant to help us, as you mentioned, for cost estimates of poles and the like, because you're absolutely correct. I don't want to install $10,000 signs, which some of these could be the very expensive ones. So in part of our process, when we come to you, we'll give you options, and not only with the design, but also with the cost. So when you make that decision, we don't want you to buy up on $1 million project. It's not going to be anything like that. But we want to give you choices so that you can come up with something that's beautiful, but also not ridiculously expensive. So that's absolutely part of the process.
Thank you.
I think, if I may chime in, I think what Councilmember Cascadian is looking for is probably like a ballpark figure as far as what do these signs really cost. So back in maybe four or 5 years ago, I actually ordered one sign to be placed over at the council chamber, and I ordered it myself. It was about $200 for that sign. It was it's a local vendor here. It's same vendor that we use for our street signs. So that was $200. If you do that times 80, that would be $16,000 at a minimum without installation or anything like that. And Alan, if you can recall, the monument sign that we have gotten a quote for on the corner of 162 and Western, how much was that? It was a pretty big monument sign, wasn't it?
It's a big monument sign, and with the digital reader board, it's approximately $65,000.
Right. So that particular installation would be 65. So somewhere in between, if you add poles and whatnot, so maybe you're looking at the minimum, $20,000 for all the signs plus installation, and it could cost anywhere upwards to that, like a $50,000 sign. Again, we're not using general fund here; we're using gas tax funds, and we'll be, we do have the budget for that as far as whatever the cost is. Hopefully, it's not $1 million. I don't think we'd be spending $1 million in signs. Our city's not that big. But the cost will be sizable. But the price that you pay for the aesthetics when we're bringing the city together with all of the other things that we're doing, I think it's be a worthwhile project to do.
Okay, Councilmember Henderson.
Thank you, Madam. So I was in regard, thank you for that last slide, because that was very helpful in regards to wayfinding versus entry into the city. So when you would bring it back to us after we get our design and we get our booklet and what we want to do moving forward, we can decide up to how many entry signs we would like, 0 to 25, or maybe we say we want 15 signs that show entrance into the city. But as far as wayfinding, we want more of those signs so folks know how to get to our parks and our facilities and stuff like that. So we can kind of control that expense. Correct, Mr. City Manager or Alan?
That's correct, Councilmember Henderson. We would have a set number of signs as our recommendation before the City Council. For whatever design that we choose and whatever mode of installation we may have. Then, the City Council can fine tune that. And Alan, correct me if I'm wrong, if that's in your experience in the past, City Council can fine tune that to add more or maybe less what the city staff has recommended and what Mr. Volz would be recommending as far as the number of signs, the platform and whatnot, because all that will make a difference in the pricing.
Absolutely, Mr. City Manager. What I think one of the most important decisions is going to be for the council is what do we want to direct people to? And so, such as there's a Chamber of Commerce sign that's out there. Do we want to, all like the Armory, is that something we want to direct people to? Obviously, parks like Raleigh, we do. So that's, I think, kind of the first step. We'll come up with a proposed list of the destinations, and that then will drive and set the stage for where the signs go to direct people to those.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Francis?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. So I thought I heard you say that Mr. Volz, part of the budget amount is 60,000, and then the other 40,000 is for staff. Are we hiring more consultants, or I'm not quite sure where the 40,000 for staff is. This above and beyond what their salary already, what they already make, or I'm not.
No, Councilmember Francis, I should have clarified. So that's for staff time, because we charge staff time to projects like this to make up to pay us out of, so we get reimbursed out of, let's say, gas tax, as opposed to getting charged to the general fund. So from an accounting standpoint, that's a positive of what we do. We put the budget in there so we make sure that we hit the restricted funds as opposed to the general fund. The second thing we always do is we put a contingency in. This is a project in which we may want David to do additional services. And as we go through it, we may need an additional consultant. We don't know. This is a journey I haven't gone through before. And it's one that could go and expand, and we may want different things. So rather than coming back to you for extra funds, we're budgeting it. Do I think we're going to use all of it? Absolutely not. But what we want to do is to budget so we have the contingency so that as you direct this project to go, that we have the money already available.
Okay. And one other question, I will comment. I like the idea of a development guide. I like that, so that when whoever comes after you, they'll have some idea of what works in our city. I've always wanted some development guide in terms of new development coming into our city. But I always thought that was a good idea. So when new developments come in, new projects come in, we can say, well, this is what we like, this is what we have, and do it this way, and we're good. And it allows more consistency as things change and over a period of time. So I like that. So the pictures that you showed us, are those examples of your work that you've actually done, or just some things that you thought looks nice? Or like say,
some of them are work that we've done in different cities, and then some of it is things that we've collected that we bring forward when we have these kind of projects, so that you can see the whole wide range, because each project is unique and different. That Stanton project there, we did work on that, and we took the city flower and put it on. They felt that was important. They have a particular type style that they wanted to use, and then we tried to push to have highly visible signs, so we want the colors. So we have the white colors on that dark blue background that worked really well. So we want you to think about all those things as we come up with a unique and creative sign for your city.
And just one more question: as you're developing signs, are you going to be able to take into account our historical heritage for the city of Gardena? Because we do have a rich heritage and a rich history of how the city got started and who was here. That's some reflective of those that came before us. And
certainly, we'd be open to any ideas and anything that would make it unique to your city. I think that would make it more special, right? That's really what we want to do, is come up with a unique and Gardena style and look.
All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate your presentation. That's very helpful. Thank you.
Councilmember Cascadian.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Becky, if we can go to the 8th picture, go back a couple more, I guess. Right there. Go back, no, forward. Yeah, here we go. Thank you. Mr. Waltz, something like this, it says on the main street, City Hall, County Sheriff, public, parking. This pole that we're looking at, we put the G logo in the middle.
Yes.
Something like this, with your experience, what are we looking approximately? Just throw us some numbers.
Probably be in the $1,000 to $2,000 range, depends. If we do a bunch of signs and we can cut that top piece, and it would be perhaps it's metal of some kind, and we get it die cut. We're getting those at pretty reasonable price, especially when we order like 25 or so. You get really nice prices. The pole itself is going to cost you, maybe a couple $100. Somebody has to put it in the ground. It's concrete. I'm thinking $1,000. Probably something in, it could be more, could be less. I think some of your signs we should consider maybe lighting. So that would add to the cost if we have electrical nearby or not. But that will have to come out of your folks' direction. But a sign like this, I think that's something like what we're thinking about going towards, is something like that, where we would have opportunity to put the wayfinding on the sign pole itself, and then some kind of a interesting top or some other way to identify that we're in Gardena and this is the welcome to town or those kinds of pieces. Yeah.
All right, just for me to just to get an idea. That's about it. But it doesn't look bad if it's like 1,000 or 2, for a sign. Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Any more questions or comments?
Again, I want to remind the City Council that the funds that we're using here is federal funds, the gas tax funds. It's restrictive to curb to curb as far as streets is concerned. So we can't use those money anywhere else. They have to be used on streets, and street signage is one of them that qualifies for that type of funding.
Okay.
So this certainly does qualify for that gas tax funding.
Okay. Madam City Clerk, you have a hand up?
Yes, Madam Mayor. We do have a hand up from a member of the public, Mr. Ahmed.
Okay.
Oh, yes. Hi, good afternoon or good evening, City Council, City Mayor. So I was wondering, this is an excellent project. Is there a way to incorporate possibly on some of the, especially on the major streets like Redondo Beach Boulevard, like digital signage, essentially with incorporating it possibly within this like historical signage where we can have like a digital element to show that we're both, historically, and also, up to the new current trends of, like a digital, like billboard, and, just advertising like city events, like softball games, just different events, possibly into this. Also, another thing I would also recommend into looking into is people really like this. It's actually having like a time, displaying the time. Everyone nowadays has watches and smart watches and cell phones. I mean, it's just good to see the time on. When you're driving, you don't have to look down. You can actually see it on on a wayfinder signage. And the next one is going to be could the funds also, I mean, this is excellent. I know there's probably the funds always get replenished for that specific fund for the federal funding. Is there a way to even use some of that federal funding to incorporate trees, planting trees on these thoroughfares and center medians and curbs? So, essentially like canopy style trees with this. Yes. Thank you so much.
Sorry, I was muted. Mr. City Manager, would you like to respond to any of those comments?
So, Madam Mayor, as far as digital signage is concerned, I mean, that is a totally different concept. It's a good concept to have on thoroughfares, but it really, if you want to do that, it's an entirely different conversation with the City Council as far as taking advantage of advertising and having, clear channel and different advertisers to put in the digital billboards, and then the city would have a revenue sharing with them. So it wouldn't necessarily tie into the signage because those billboards are rather huge and encompasses the entire thoroughfare. So I wouldn't necessarily include that on the digital signage program. I mean, on the wayfinding signage. It would be a different topic.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay, if not, then can I get a motion to approve a budget appropriation in the amount of $100,000 of gas tax funds to begin the design phase of the citywide wayfinding and entry sign program, project number JN507?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka and a second by Councilmember Francis. Will you call the roll, please?
Yes, Madam Mayor. Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka.
Yes.
Councilmember Francis.
Yes.
Councilmember Henderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Cascanian.
Yes.
Mayor Serta.
Yes, I'd just like to say thank you once again for the presentation. And just a quick note, let's not forget we have 2 card rooms. They're bringing a lot of money, so we may want to sign for them as well. And then the other thing is just food for thought here. A lot of people say, you know, we love Gardena is a big city that's moving forward, but we still have that nice old town feel to it as well, that neighborhood feel. So I don't know, just something to think about. And I'm sure other council members can email or share any of their suggestions as well too. So just a thought. So
thank you, Mr. Bolts. Thank you, Mr. Reed.
Yes. Okay, so next up is item number 17A, Mr. City Manager.
Mayor Serta, members of the City Council, agenda item 17A is to approve amendment to agreement with Iteris Incorporated for additional traffic signal engineering services for $233,237, a project total of $268,223. In 2019, G-Trans hired Iteris through the city's existing on-call agreement, who has been providing bus signal priority services, or BSP. Project includes design services for up to 21 intersections along Western and Vermont Avenue corridors, procurement support, acceptance testing, integration support to implement BSP functionality, project management, operations and maintenance support for a 3-year period from system acceptance. The project received funding from a grant with LA Metro to upgrade intersections with signal priority firmware and software to improve bus running times and on-time performance. This technology would also integrate with other upcoming G-Trans Intelligent Transportation System projects. Contract amendment was awarded for this grant-funded project by Council in October 2019 in the amount of $707,106 for the BSP project and authorization for $262,905 for 3 years of operations and maintenance for a total of $970,011. It was discovered that the city's traffic management system and signal controllers would not work with the new BSP equipment planned for installation, and recommended action is to upgrade and add to the city's existing traffic signal controller equipment and firmware, and purchase new traffic management system to manage the upgraded controllers and deliver required staff training and maintenance support. Purchase and oversight of this effort would be managed by Iteris, as they are the most familiar with not only the BSP project and its components, but also with the city's current traffic management system. Cost for this additional work is $233,237. G-Trans is also requesting authority for an additional 15% or $34,986 for any unforeseen work that is required during this project. As this upgrade was not part of G-Trans's original BSP project, it's being considered as a new scope of work for G-Trans under a new contract amendment to the city's original on-call contract with Iteris, and G-Trans will fund upgrade under its own capital program. Therefore, it's recommended that the council authorize the execution of a second contract amendment to the City of Gardena's existing on-call service agreement with Iteris Incorporated in the amount of $233,237 and authorize a 15% contingency of $34,986 for a total authorized amount of $268,223. The item was presented on the September 28, 2021 City Council meeting. Staff was directed to provide additional information regarding the project, consultant, and scope of work. Financial impact: G-Trans has existing local capital funds available for this project. There is no impact to the general fund. What is required is to approve this amendment.
Okay. All right. Are there any questions or comments at this time? No. Madam City Clerk, do we have anybody from the public wishing to speak on this item?
No, Madam Mayor, we do not.
Okay. So at this time, can I get a motion to approve amendment for the Iteris consultant agreement?
I'll move.
Second.
Okay. Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Councilmember Kaskanian and a second by Councilmember Francis. Will you call the roll?
Councilmember Kaskanian.
Yes.
Councilmember Francis.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka.
Yes.
Who did I leave out here? Mayor Serta.
Yes.
And Councilman Henderson is a yes, Madam City Clerk.
Thank you. I thought I called you already. I apologize for that.
Okay.
I'm over it. It's okay.
Don't be mad.
Okay, next up is item number 17B. Mr. City Manager.
Mayor Serta, members of the City Council, agenda item 17B is to approve a G-Trans participation in LA County Metro's pilot fareless system initiative, also known as Go Pass, providing free fares for K through 12 and community college students. Seeking to provide financial relief to transit riders and increase flagging ridership, the Board of Directors of the LA County Metro approved a Fareless System Initiative of FSI pilot program, which has now been rebranded as the Go Pass program, which would allow K through 12 customers to ride fare-free during an 18-month period beginning October 1st, 2021. Community college students would also be eligible to participate in the pilot program during the fall semester. The estimated impact on G-Trans's fare revenue is a potential reduction of $177,000. G-Trans plans to use its share of the countywide allocation of the American Rescue Plan Act, or ARPA, 2021 funds to cover the impact of the fare loss. Both K through 12 school district and community colleges will pay a small share per student per year to help offset some of the costs, but the actual revenue to the participating systems from that funding source is expected to be minimal. Metro has been working to identify those school districts in the county that are interested and develop tapped card distribution networks and funding agreements. To date, 41 out of 87 districts have expressed interest in participating, all representing over 1,201 schools and over 700,000 students. The program includes unlimited rides on all participating agencies in LA County and free tap cards for students. Metro will work directly with school districts and community colleges and supply each directly with tap cards. LAUSD has signed their contract, which includes schools such as Gardena and Narbonne high schools and Peary Middle School, to name a few. G-Trans aims to start this program on November 1st, 2021, start up for K through 12 customers, and G-Trans staff will be available to facilitate the pilot program. The pilot program rollout is dependent on Metro staff finalizing agreements with the school districts and community colleges. G-Trans staff will coordinate internally with our local schools and Metro to have a successful rollout, including a unified communication strategy. G-Trans has planned for the expense and can maintain a positive fund balance to accommodate the pilot program. Therefore, staff recommends the City Council approve G-Trans's participation in Phase 1 of the countywide Fareless System Initiative, or Go Pass program, allowing a fare-free transit to participating K through 12 and community college students. For financial impact, G-Trans has available ARPA funds, 2021 funds, to accommodate the estimated expenditures of $177,000 in fare revenue loss. At this time, there is no anticipated service increases required. However, costs were included in the fiscal 2022 budget previously approved by the City Council. There is no impact to the general fund. What is required is to approve the participation.
Is it, anybody from the council have any questions or comments?
I have a comment. Just say I'm glad that G-Trans is participating in this program, and I think it's going to help a lot of our children, our community college students, at least get to school. It's those bus passes. Last time I checked, they were about $50 or $60 a month, somewhere around there. And it doesn't sound like a lot, but it's for a lot of our families, it's a challenge to come up with that money every month. So I think it's going to be very helpful to a lot of our students. A lot of our community college students are and finding themselves in difficult financial situations. So this is definitely a plus. I'm glad to see it. I'm glad they have an opportunity to participate.
Okay. Any more questions or comments? So just so I understand this correctly, so for the first 18 months, we're not going to charge for K through 12 or students at community college. So we're estimating $177,000 that we'll probably lose, but we'll be able to get back from the American Rescue Plan Act. Am I understanding so far correctly?
That is correct, Madam Mayor. That's already in the ARPA funds that G-Trans has.
Okay. And then after that, I'm trying to understand, then we're going to reach out to the school then to ask them to pay $3 per student that's participating in this back to us.
Let me get the director here, because I'm not 100% on.
I guess I'm trying to find out what happens after the 18th month. I mean, are we hit with it then, or because I just want to understand, because I mean, I think it's great we're able to give it for free now, but I'm wondering after 18 months, once everybody is accustomed to, riding for free, I don't want to see us just snatch it away or whatever. I just want to make sure we have the funds to cover everything.
So we have our director of transportation here to make sure that we don't make sure we're covered for the past 18 months. Ernie, could you shed some light on that?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. So as the city manager mentioned, the 18 months were covered with the ARP funding.
Okay.
And then Metro and all the municipal operators were looking for long-term funding options at this point. So they are not established on what everybody's going to do in 18 months. And just like yourself bringing that concern, the Metro board has brought that concern to light as well on what is the long-term plan after the 18 months. So there's a lot of opportunities that people are going to be looking for different, hopefully federal grants or local grants, but we don't know. We just don't know.
So there could be a possibility that after 18 months that we offer this for free, we might have to take it away. Is that?
That is one option, or figure out another option would be if the program is successful, is there a way to continue to manage that with our existing service and funds?
Okay, by finding some of the sort of grants or programs out there to continue.
Yeah, just kind of putting all resources together and trying to find an option how to cover the 177,000 every year moving on.
Okay, and then so after the 18 months, this will come back to us, and then we'll look at what sources G-Trans is individually able to find, or will it be Metro finding it for everybody else, or?
Yeah, so in the 18-month period, we'll definitely be coming back, right? It's a pilot. That's why right now we're asking you for permission to participate in the pilot.
Okay.
We'll provide feedback throughout the 18 months on the progress of the program.
Okay.
And then at the conclusion of the 18 months, we will definitely, probably way before the 18th months, be talking to our council on the next steps. So us coming with some funding options, Metro coming up with some funding options.
Okay.
All that within the 18 months.
Okay, good. Very good. Thank you for the explanation there.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Metro does have the option of raising sales tax again in order to cover the shortfall, if that's needed. Imagine, this is 177 just in Gardena alone. This is countywide. So they do have that option later on to raise funds. I believe that if it's highly successful, I doubt that Metro will pull the plug on this. I mean, it's very hard to take back something that you're rolling out and it's very successful.
So let me understand this then. So hypothetically, if they try to raise the sales tax, aren't we at the max right now at 10 1/4?
The measure for transportation measures, that measure M, measure R, measure M, are exempt from that. So they can do that.
Add to our current sales tax.
Correct.
Does it go on the ballot first, or is it just something? Oh, it goes on the ballot first before it. And hypothetically speaking, let's just say in a community, let's just say Lawndale says no, but then Gardena says yes. Then does that mean that
it's countywide?
Oh, it's countywide.
It's countywide, and it's a 2/3 vote.
Oh, okay. Okay, got it.
Lawndale pays for it too.
Say it again.
Lawndale will pay for it too.
Yeah, they will.
We'll all pay for it. Taxpayers are going to pay for it. Okay.
I have a quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Mr. Crespo. So I understand that this is for students, but can they use this pass anytime they want? Or is it just for school?
Anytime, Monday through every day of the week.
Okay, so they don't really have to just go to school. They could just use it because it's a free pass, right?
Correct. Okay. On their preloaded tap card.
Okay, thank you.
Go to SoFi Stadium free?
If they are a student and they have a card that's issued correctly, then yes, they would ride our 7X for free.
Well, we're going to hope and pray that they utilize it for school because that was what it was intended for.
Exactly.
I'm sorry.
Hold on. I'm sorry. I lost track. Who was speaking now?
Oh, I had a question.
Go ahead.
Okay, I was just wondering, is it true that under the current, before this program, Fairless program, that if families who were receiving county aid, that the county would reimburse Metro, or they would buy the parents would purchase the bus pass, and then the county would reimburse the parents. So they're still, is that true?
I can look into that a little bit more on the county level. I mean, we as G-Trans, we don't have a pass program. We don't have a monthly pass, and those type of subsidies you usually see in systems that have passes, like a monthly pass.
Mm-hmm.
We have a regional pass. That's like the easy pass. That's like you mentioned earlier. That's like over $100 something, but that's kind of administered as the region. And you can kind of jump through all the systems. But I can look into that about what type of, I guess, aid was flowing to parents to help subsidize these tests. But with this one, as long as the school participates, that you don't really need that anymore because it's not income based. It's based on the school and the district administering it down to the school. So no matter what income, as long as that school's in, they get a TAP card and they can ride any of the participating agencies.
Okay.
Okay. Any more questions or comments? Mr. City Manager, was there something additional you wanted to add?
Oh yeah, I just wanted to ask Mr. Crespo if you're aware, if the students are running low on their TAP, do they go back to their district to get it loaded up?
Yeah, so you mean if they're running out of like cards or money?
Money
So the short answer is there is no money on the cards. It's loaded. It's just loaded with the right authorization that your school participates in the program. So our fare boxes are programmed to recognize that card, and then together it's a transaction that gets documented. So there's no money exchange at the fare box coming out of the card. So if you lose the card, there's no value on it either. There's no dollars on it that somebody could reuse.
So here's a question I have. So for instance, that extra line that we have that takes the kids to Bishop Montgomery, and I forget there was I forget how much we were spending, like about $15,000 or something like that a year for that. So that would just be free to the students, correct?
So good question, Mayor. So right now, that line is still 70 cents for those students until the parochial schools decide to participate in the program, because not every school and not every district is in the program, right? And so until they get into the program, if that's what they choose to do, at that point is when they would be free to ride any of the services. Today, they're 70 cents.
Okay. Okay.
Are the schools that they're participating, are they paying anything to the Metro?
Yeah, so they're paying $3 per student per year. $3 per student per year.
Okay, I see.
So as you can, it's not much per year per student.
Okay. Madam City Clerk, do we have anybody from the public wishing to speak on this item?
No, Madam Mayor, we do not.
Okay, any more questions or comments? No, if not, can I get a motion to approve participation?
I move to approve participation.
I'll second.
Madam City Clerk, there was a motion made by Councilman Francis and a second by Councilmember Henderson. Will you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Francis.
I'm sorry, you were muted.
Councilmember Francis.
Yes, sorry about that.
Councilmember Henderson.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka.
Yes.
Councilmember Cascanian.
Yes.
Mayor Serta.
No. Okay. Next up is council directives. Do we have any directives at this time from any members of the council?
I have a question.
Okay.
I attended the District 1 Neighborhood Watch meeting, and our neighbors on Van Ness, they were complaining about people still parking on the street, having problems with people parking on the street, even though it's a permit parking area. And one of the neighbors suggested that perhaps the problem is that the signs are too far apart and that maybe we need signs closer together. But I forget, one of the officers said that there was actually a ordinance about sign placement. Councilmember Henderson, you were there. Am I on the? And so I was wondering if we could look into. They feel that perhaps if there was an additional sign that people would see the sign, because where the signs are placed is at either end of the block, and you may not, you may pass it or you may not even notice it.
Yeah, I was at that meeting, and it was said to that it was actually a pretty good idea that we have more signs frequently. And I think the sergeant said that there was some ordinance, but Lieutenant Cuff said he would look into that and everything to see what that ordinance was, or if it was being applied correctly and everything. But if you're making that directive, I'll second that, since I was there as well, to look in to see, to have more frequent signs, like adding 3 more, then there's a total of 5 on that block, then you can take them off.
Yes, if I don't know, whatever would, most reasonable, if 5 would, that's reasonable. But if we could, thank you, Councilman Henderson, because they're very concerned, and I'm concerned for our neighbors because they're confronting people about parking on their street. And
I believe there was a couple of incidents that happened that kind of sparked that whole situation. And people were just being belligerent and parking there regardless of the park permits. But if the signs help to keep it from being less interaction between those neighbors there.
Anything that we can do to help.
Those neighbors fought really hard for that parking permit, and there are people out there who are just kind of disregarding it. So,
well, part of the challenge is they're saying to a lot of those negative interactions is that they tell a person to not park there, and their thing would be there's no sign, because the signs are at either end of 132 or 134 place, so they're way apart. If you park in the middle of the block, you don't see anything. So their idea was to have some more signs in between those two, so you can point to a sign.
Okay,
that makes sense.
Yeah, I just have one more question, because what made me think about this, and I've been thinking about it for a while, especially when I go over to Hawthorne and you're at a traffic signal and you push the button. When a light goes green, it makes a little sound like cuckoo, so, to allow a person that may be visually impaired to know that it's okay to cross the street, or even for kids. So since we had mentioned, is there any money available to maybe upgrade some of our traffic signals so that when when a light goes green, it's okay to walk, that we can put some kind of little sound, buzzer or something that would help?
I mean, if we're talking about, let's look at some fees, what it would cost for something like that. I mean, I would support seconding just to see what it would cost to.
That much, yeah.
I mean, is it something that's within our budget, or we have an idea? Then we'll know where to go with it.
You mentioned the funds, same, I guess the gas tax funds. If there's some money available for that, I don't know how much. We'll at least look into it and look at that as a funding source. That was all that I was wondering about.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any more directives? Okay. I have 2 directives. The first one is, I didn't get a chance to mention this at the last meeting because I had to leave early, but there was a discussion. We were talking about the roof with the fire department at the last meeting, and I had mentioned that I'm aware, because of the type of trees that they have there, that are these cones that are on the roof, and the weight of that, along with the rain, we knew that it damaged the roof, and looking at the idea of, what it would cost to remove those trees there, and of course, replant with some better trees that are not going to tear up the property there. So that's a directive I'd like to get a second on.
Seconded.
Okay, that's one. The second one is, just in thinking in terms about ADAP, and this being Red Ribbon Week coming up here, I was wondering if we could get a staff report back as it relates to flavored tobacco and the number of shops that are selling flavored tobacco for, I believe it's for vaping. I'm sorry, I don't know exactly how it works, but for vaping, and where we're at with that as far as is it allowed right now? I believe it is, but is it something that maybe we need to take a stand on? So if we could get some information in regards to that.
Mayor, sort of just to narrow it down, would you like, I know I think it was like, at the beginning of the year, I gave you some options of where the law was, but we can follow up with an additional memo that wasn't included in that initial one as to how many shops would be impacted if the city were to choose to ban flavored tobacco prior to finding out what's going to happen with SB 973, which was the state bill that banned flavored tobacco with some exceptions that's on the ballot for November of 2022. Is it okay if the memo is a follow-up with that additional information?
Right. I think, that's more what I'm looking at as far as the businesses that would be impacted by that. So.
Okay, and it's a memo, correct?
A memo. If I could get a second on that.
Second.
Thank you. Okay, that is all I have. Anybody else? Okay, if not, let's move on to council remarks. We're going to begin tonight with Councilwoman Francis.
Madam Mayor, you got to do my CM report.
Did I skip that? I'm so sorry. Mr. City Manager, we'll begin with you.
All right, thank you, Madam Mayor. Up first is a memo as presented to the Honorable Mayor and City Council members from our City Attorney, Karen Vasquez. This is from a directive a couple of meetings ago about possibility of annexing properties south of the city's southern boundary. So there's some, it's an analysis that our City Attorney has done. After that, we will be waiting for the City Council to direct us to, if City Council desires to explore this any further. As far as upcoming events, we have two, the Gardena Police Pink Patch Project. We'll be selling a limited amount of pink patches once again for $10 each, and you can purchase those from the police department front counter Monday through Thursday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Or contact Ms. Stephanie Escalante at 310-217-9689. Or you can send an email to escalante@gardenapd.org with any of your questions. And also, we're having a DEA National Prescription Take-Back. You can turn in your unused or expired medication for proper and safe disposal. We have a drop-off location in front of Gardena PD over at 1718 162nd Street. It's going to be on Saturday, October 23rd, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. If you any other questions, you can call Tracy Sarwatari at 323-293-6284 or email her at tsarwatari@adapinc.org. And I believe we have a short video from our Rec and Human Services Department. All right, I want to thank our staff at Rec and Human Services and all of our staff members that participated and made our events very, very successful. And as you can see, we have many more programs and events lined up for the city in the coming months, all throughout the holiday season. So thank you so much to all of our staff, and specifically Stephanie Santine and the Rec and Human Services staff. And last but not least, I'd like to feature Hispanic Heritage Month. It's from September 15 to October 15. And to celebrate that, we have a short video that really highlights some of the accomplishments of this heritage that we hold dear in our hearts. So I'd like to share my screen and play this video.
Wow.
Sorry, did you guys see that, or did you not see it?
We saw it, we couldn't hear it, but we got the gist of it. So congratulations, Stephanie. Yeah. Very well deserved. We were able to read it, so very nice. Very nice. Nice to see her recognized for hard work. So let's give her a virtual round of applause for doing a great job, as always.
All right. Okay. Madam Mayor, that ends my city manager's remarks.
Okay. That being said, let's move on to council remarks. We're going to begin tonight with Councilmember Francis.
Okay, thank you. Since we last met, I attended the LAUSD redistricting commission meeting. There is still time to make your comments or let your voice be heard about how you'd like to see the district map redrawn. I'm concerned because we have District 1 and District 7. Perchie Avenue is in one district, Dr. McKenna's district, and the rest of our schools are in another District 7. So I have a concern about that, you know. And anyway, I also attended a town hall, again at LAUSD, on their plan to increase achievement for Black students. Is organized by board member Dr. George McKenna. There's also going to be one for District 7. I believe the date is October 20th. I can get you more information on that if you like. But this is the first time in my remembrance as an educator for 30 years that money is being spent specifically on increased achievement of African-American students. So that was good. And I also attended the Holly Park Neighborhood Watch meeting for District 1. And I attended the Fur Baby in Paradise event, and I got to meet Chompers. Chompers is a sweetheart. And when I got there, I thought to myself, this city is going to the dogs and cats. But it was a really great event, very well attended. And I know we have a lot of dogs to see because when I was door knocking, almost every other house had a dog, sometimes small dog, big dog. So this is a city of dog lovers. So I was really grateful for the event, and I hope that we're able to offer maybe a vaccination clinic in different parts of our city, which would be great. And I also want to congratulate Stephanie Santine for her award from Supervisor Holly Mitchell. And just to add some more names to names that we can celebrate Hispanic heritage. Of course, our Senior Attorney Vasquez, our city attorney, And thank you so much for doing an outstanding job that you do and for keeping our feet on the right path. So thank you for that. You do a wonderful job. For nada, señorita.
Señora, no, you were right the first time. Señora. Yeah, señora.
Okay, gracias. Okay, and also let's not forget Hispanic Attorney General Alex Becerra for the state of California. He's in Washington, D.C. now. We also must remember Senator Dolores Huerta, who worked alongside Cesar Chavez, helping farm workers have better lives and improve the rights and the working condition. And I also mentioned last time that President Obama coined the phrase "Si se puede." That came from Cesar Chavez. And yes, we can. So want to make that clear. We need to mention Alberto Gonzalez. He's the first United States Attorney General. He was appointed by George Bush. And we also need to mention that Dan Medina Emeritus was the first Mexican American to serve on the Gardena City Council. So it's important that, as I always say, it's important that we celebrate the contributions of everybody that has made this place such a wonderful place to live. And that will conclude my remarks. And I'm going to say, as we go forward, I believe we are going to beat this COVID thing and keep wearing your mask and washing your hands and practice social distance as best you can. And we'll get through this. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So continuing, I attended the South Bay COGS Steering Committee meeting. I did attend the wine food festival. I did G-Trans the next day with the tailgate. So I want to just tell Stephanie that the reason why she gets awards like she does is because of the things she does for our city. And the two events that they put on right after each other, it was awesome. And I had a lot of comments about the wine cigar event. People said that the way it was set up and the things that were there was the best ever. And they had a really great time. So Stephanie, is all the things the accolades you get are well deserved for the things that you do, because everybody in the South Bay asks, how do we do what we do? Well, it's Stephanie and her staff. If it wasn't for them having this, I guess, this creative imaginary mind that just says, this is what we're going to do, and they put it on. You guys rock. I'm telling you, it is really great. And then thanks to G-Trans for sponsoring the tailgate party. Got up kind of early. I was with the chief that morning, and we were a little green around the gills, but we were good. And then Stephanie, the fur baby dog and cat event, unfortunately, you're going to have to do it every year now, because people said that they didn't think it was going to be a very good event, and it was packed. So everybody said that you're now going to have to do doggies and cats every year. So just have that on your calendar, because it was a great event. A lot of my friends were there. A couple of my friends won awards for best dressed. And so it was, tell Candace, they did a great job. So we really thank you for what you do to promote our city and make us the gem of the South Bay. And lastly, if you haven't seen our Gardena sign in front of City Hall, thank you for putting it in purple. That's my favorite color. So it's all in purple right now. So take a look at it. Madam Mayor, that ends my report.
Okay, thank you. Next up is Councilmember Cascadia.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And I would like to echo Mayor Pro Tem Tanaka's comments regarding the Food, Wine, and Cigar Festival. It was a great event. I would say it's one of city's successful events, besides, the Jazz Festival. So thank you, Stephanie, for everything, and the staff and whoever participated putting this thing together. Behind the scene, we can't name everybody's one by one, but I do appreciate everybody one by one that worked on this event. Thank you very much. I was there as well. And congratulations to Stephanie for your award from the supervisor, Holly Mitchell. and you well deserved. You do a great job, and we do appreciate that too. And Madam Mayor, that ends my report.
Okay, thank you. And for myself, actually, I'm gonna go back a little further since the last council meeting because I didn't get a chance to do my council remarks for the previous meeting, but I attended the employee recognition event that was almost a month ago now. And I just want to once again thank all of our employees for a great job that they do throughout the year. We had a great time that day, just being able just to kind of fellowship there with employees. And I think it's always nice when we take a few minutes just to say thank you to everybody for a job well done. And not only the employees, but even to the city council, the time that we spend doing what we do, in leadership here for our community here. I mean, I even want to thank you guys because we could be doing something else right now versus holding the positions we're in. So I just want to say once again, everybody, thank you. Also, I had attended, and I can't remember the exact name of this, but we were at the park with the police and it was like an afternoon, hey y'all, afternoon in the park or something like that. And got a chance to go to that, had a great time there just with the kids and just having a good time. The kids loved the ice cream and all the little slushies and everything like that. They came home with green and purple tongues. So that was fun. So everybody had a good time with that. And then also I had the opportunity to be one of the grand marshals for the Gardena homecoming game at Gardena High School. So it's my second year doing that. And that was a lot of fun to be able to do that. And if I recall, I think Gardena lost that night. So that was the only downfall to the night. I too attended the Food, Wine, and Cigar Festival. And as was mentioned, it was a great event. The turnout was awesome. But I love the fact that it's money that's being raised for our Alzheimer's Day Clinic. And I think people just really, not only were they there just for the Food, Wine, and Cigar Festival, but they really understood why they were buying a ticket and, how it benefits those who are dealing with Alzheimer's. And how it helps the family out to be able to have our daycare there. So I just want to thank everybody for all of their participation in that event and just making it as successful as it was. I too heard that this is probably one of the best years that we've had. And the way the tables are spaced out, I understand it was due to COVID, but everybody liked that. It was kind of different, this year. And so it was a lot of fun. Everybody felt like they had their own table and had a little private party in their little area there. So that was really good. I also attended the tailgating party that G-Trans had. And that too was a lot of fun. I want to thank the staff for all that they were doing out there. It was just kind of great and kicking off that number 7 line. I've been telling everybody about that and they can't believe that you can get on a bus for $4 and it'll take you from the transfer center all the way to SoFi Stadium. And I think as we continue letting people know about that bus line is going to continue flourishing the way it is. This past weekend, I apologize. I missed the fur baby event. I was getting all ready for it and then my allergies kicked in and I was stuck at home, but everybody called me and said how much fun they were having, what a great event it was. And I was just waiting for the video and the pictures to see because everybody kept talking about how good it was. So I'm glad it was very successful. And hopefully, with that successful event that hopefully we'll get a dog park in Gardena very soon. That's something, like Councilwoman Henderson said, Francis said, I'm sorry. Just about every other house has a dog. And, the 2 closest parks that we have right now are in City of El Segundo and I believe in Redondo Beach. So hopefully that's something that as we move forward with our city, we can potentially have. The last thing I want to bring up, and I've gotten a few phone calls about this here, is that it was mentioned that Governor Newsom had come to the city of Gardena as he was signing SB2, and people were saying, hey, why didn't we know about this? A lot of times the city council, you guys, let us know about things like this. We did not find out until the very, very last minute. And unfortunately, myself and the city council, we were not invited to the event. And it's unfortunate that I have to report it like that, but I specifically spoke with the governor's staff when I inquired about the event and why we were not invited. And basically all they could say was, this was a result of State Senator Stephen Bradford, the reason why we were not invited. I thought it was interesting because I showed up anyway, and then I find out that other members, Mayor of Compton, they were invited. Mayor of Lawndale, they were invited because they were all texting me and some showed up. So I think it was a real disservice from the governor's office to come to the city of Gardena after so many of us supported him no on the recall. And I think a lot of residents would have appreciated being able to take a moment just to see the governor, wave at him or say something. So I just thought it was important that our community knows that it was not the city of Gardena, nor this city council or myself that negated from letting people know that the Governor Gavin Newsom came to Raleigh Park, our own backyard, and we as a community were not invited. So anyway, that's all I have to, in my report. Next up is Councilmember Henderson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Since our last time getting together, I attended the Mobility 21 conference, and it was a transportation conference held within LA County and everything. I was also at a BizFed broadband conference and everything, and a lot of the things that I learned about what folks are doing in regards to best practices, it's good to know that some of these things we're already doing as a city. So I want to commend our staff and again our council, where we come up with innovative, simplistic yet progressive ideas to really further our community. And we all have our sweet spots in regards to our areas of focus, but we work together as a collective. So it's good to know a lot of best practices that people talk about, we actually implement and do. So that's a great thing that we're doing now. So let me see, I was at the Cigar and Wine Festival. Again, kudos to Stephanie Santine and the whole recreations department. They should probably start getting a bookcase so they can start putting their trophies up, because we got to collect the hardware. The new layout was excellent. The spacing was great. A lot of people talked about that always come to this event. So kudos again to the Parks Department led by Stephanie. We want to definitely recognize Hispanic Heritage Month. And I want to say to our City Attorney Vasquez, for those that don't know, I've had the pleasure of meeting a lot of the Vasquezes. Is that the plural of Vasquez? Vasquezes? And so I was at a conference. I met her younger sister that's an attorney. And I know her brother very well, Fernando. That's my primo right there. It's great. Good stock, and we're lucky to have Carmen Vasquez as our city attorney. We also want to acknowledge President Joe Biden for recognizing the first Indigenous Peoples Day this year. You know, for all of us that are of age, it was formerly known as Columbus Day and everything, and it's part of history in regards to how we learned about that day. 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue, so on and so forth. But it's good to also acknowledge those indigenous folks that were victimized from the genocide of that interaction between the Europeans and those that were already in the North America or the Americas at that point. So again, this is Indigenous Peoples Day. We want to make sure that we recognize that as well. Tomorrow I'll be chairing a meeting with BizFed, the Responsible Governance Committee, in regards to utilizing existing infrastructure and resources to accelerate digital equity. The LA County supervisors are going to use a lot of their HERF and/or ARP money to start funding that initiative, and there's going to be public-private partnerships being formed. In Gardena, we're kind of positioned to actually participate that as we look to serve those that are underserved in our community. And Madam Mayor, so ends my report. Thank you for this time.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I have two more announcements to be made. It wasn't mentioned in the presentation, but we have the Helping Hands 2021 Holiday Toy Drive coming up. We're asking city employees to help please support our Helping Hands programs by donating unwrapped toys for all ages. So beginning Monday, October 11th through Friday, December 3rd, we'll accept all of these things. What is needed is toys of all ages, books, art supplies, board games, sports equipment, and gift cards. You can drop off your donations at any of the following locations: at City Hall, Human Services Department, G-Trans, Naco Community Center, as well as the Gardena Police Department. If you'd like more information on this, you can call our Human Services Department at 310-217-9574, or you can email us at helpinghands@cityofgardena.org. And then one last flyer here. I don't know if the screen is going to come up as I read this. This is in regards to the environmental justice element here. Becky, I don't know if you have that available. Okay, there it is. So the City of Gardena is developing its first environmental justice element and would like the input of our community. The environmental justice element will be made part of the city's general plan and will reflect the city's commitment to reducing environmental burdens and promoting a more equitable, safe, and healthy lifestyle for our residents. Public engagement is a critical component in developing the city's environmental justice plan. That's why we definitely want to hear from you to ensure our city's environmental justice elements reflects local conditions and community priorities. So city staff has created a survey that will be made available until Friday, November 5th. Your answers will help the city develop the goals and policies in the environmental justice element. So a link to the public survey can be found on the city's website at cityofgardena.org/environmental justice -element. Or you can also scan the QR code shown on your screen here using your smartphone device. And for most people, if you don't know how to use that, just take your camera, go to the camera feature and hold it over the QR code. For more information, including a background report detailing the existing conditions related to environmental justice in Gardena, that can be found on the city's website. So if you have any questions about the survey or the environmental justice element, please contact the Planning Division at 310-217-9524 or email us at cddplanningandzoning@cityofgardena.org. Okay, thank you. We can take the flyer down now. Okay, and with that being said here, we have one adjournment tonight here. Tonight we're going to adjourn in memory of Humberto Leo Wildfjord, who was 84 years of age and a longtime resident who had a successful career developing rental properties in the city of Gardena. So at this time, the Gardena City Council will adjourn to the closed session portion of our City Council meeting at 7 p.m., followed by the regular City Council meeting at 7:30 p.m. on Tuesday, October 26, 2021. So we are adjourned. Okay, thank you guys.
Good night, everyone. Right, sleep fast.
Go Dodgers.
Good night.
I'll have humble pie tonight.
Yes. Number 2.
That's okay. That tequila will celebrate Hispanic month. That's right.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Night.
Be safe.
Next meeting?